Hello and welcome everybody. Today we're playing. This feels weird. So you're gonna see us from the side because we will be looking at each other, not looking at the camera. So we're playing tonight. We're playing Alice Baker, Inside Insights, number 4, and we are going to call today's episode "Interesting Developments."
Let's see how that goes.
Let's see how that goes. So, last time, you, Alice, had a meeting with a goddess who came to your... Well, first of all, you and Dottie went for a lovely walk. It's still March. It's now mid to late March, I want to say. It's around the 21st.
Mm-hmm.
And you decided, because it was a Monday, you decided to go for a lovely walk.
Yep.
And you went down to the Hudson.
Mm-hmm.
And on your way to the Hudson, you encountered a man who definitely recognized Dottie, and you later found out that Dottie had definitely recognized him but didn't really want to tell you about it and tried to lie to you. But the problem is Dottie may be many things and is many things, but she's not a good liar.
No, definitely not.
So then you returned home.
No.
No.
On the way, I pointed out, because the sun was setting and it was visibly seen that Dottie has no shadow. So I pointed it out to her as well.
Yeah.
She did not know, which is a bit calming. And is not happy about it, or rather shocked, the same as I am. But at least we are both on the same page there. In the evening...
You went home to contact Sinead to find out about... Why would somebody not have a shadow, and so on and so forth?
Yeah, she talked about demons and things like that, so I decided to have a secret meeting with her.
Yes.
In the Red Cafe in the evening. And
you lied to Dottie about who you were going to meet, because you said you were going to meet Martha. You went to the whole charade of actually having a fake phone call with Martha.
Yeah. Sorry, Martha. Well, but I learned from Sinead that it seems that I caused the problem because I prayed to someone I was not aware that was listening. So it seems that I prayed to the Mother of Shadows to save Dottie.
And not only did you find out that, you also have found out that Dottie hasn't seen her family. She has not been visiting. She's not been talking to Sinead. And Sinead actually feels... very sad about this, and it turns out that Dottie has basically, well, she has lied to you. We know this. You have lied to her, which both of which make Sinead very wary, because she says that this is a change in your relationship, which is really strange. So things seem to be going in a weird direction, and she's promised you to find a way that you can summon the Mother of Shadows, Mater Tenebrarum. But she's going to tell you the next day, because she was visibly upset, because the fact that Dottie has distanced herself completely or removed herself completely from her family has shaken Sinead visibly.
Yeah, and then, I came back home.
Dottie was drinking, had been drinking.
Yeah, I pointed it kindly out, but then we went to sleep. And I had a late night visitor.
Yes, and that visitor looked exactly like you.
Yeah, that was kind of nice and kind of disturbing.
Yep.
I'm looking quite well.
Yeah, you are a very beautiful woman.
Pretty. And the lipstick suits me very well. It was a good choice that I picked it. And she talked about... Well, it was a difficult talk. Because she did not really got on the train of me giving her something so she would leave Dottie alone. She only mentioned that the seed was already planted or something like that.
She did say that she was the one who brought back Dottie from near death.
Yeah.
Because you asked so nicely.
I said thank you for that, but but she did not really listen to the but part, and I think she got annoyed and left.
Yeah. And she did tell you that she'd helped you once, but no more, and now the price would have to be paid, and it would be a price that Dottie was able to pay. She would never take anything that the person that had to pay the price couldn't pay. But that there was no way she could switch it to you being the person who has to pay the price, and that the price had already been paid in a way, and you would soon see it come to fruition.
Yeah, but great.
She chose her words quite carefully, didn't she?
She did. I also tried to trigger her by involving the sisters to help if she's not willing to. She did not really get on a train, so we will see how that goes.
Yeah, and then you went downstairs to the salon and you had a drink or three, and you drank yourself essentially to sleep.
Yeah, well, after that visit, sleeping was not just an option, so...
And the next day you were woken by Dottie, who found you on the sofa. And you told her what had happened, that you had prayed in a Roman Catholic church of Irish flavor, should we say, with a really lovely side altar to the Virgin Mary, and unfortunately you had inadvertently prayed to the three sisters, and they had decided to help you, and that there was going to be a price that had to be paid, but you didn't know what it was. But Dottie told you that she thinks she knows what it is, because Dottie
is pregnant.
Dottie is pregnant.
Because when on the weekends off she was, well, having a good time, which I totally support. Well, but with the accident happening, and Dottie is unsure what to do. So she was good enough to get to a proper clinic that offered that they can, well, help solve the problem, would you say delicately?
And she stole $20 from you in order to go to said clinic?
Yeah, which is, well, $20. I also pointed out that there are other options, because I'm quite sure for a good Catholic girl to make an abortion is quite heavy. So there might be the option that she gets the child and we give it out for adoption. But we will see. That will be Dottie's decision now. Alice can only point out, or I quite pointed out very strictly, that she will be there along the way, whichever way it is.
Yeah.
And Dottie had this crazy idea about running off, taking a train and running off. What an insanity. I would find her, obviously, within days.
Yeah. So you made a couple of promises to each other. Number one, she's not going to run away. But more importantly, no more lying.
No more lying. That's the only promise I wrote down.
Yeah. And she also, basically, because she said, you know, if we're not lying to each other anymore, then I will have to let you know that I've already bought a ticket, but I'm now not going to use it. And she has also informed you that if she's going to have an abortion, she will require an advance on her salary to the extent of $100.
Which I totally agreed to, if she wants to go that way.
And she wanted to take vacation, which you then commuted into sick leave. So, and that's where we're at. So it's now...
No, that's not completely where we're at.
Then you got a letter from Sinead telling you how you could summon the goddess.
Exactly.
Or demon.
Well, not needed anymore. I talked to her. I didn't like her too much. She was quite unhelpful. So I don't need to meet her again. Maybe we can switch it to meeting the sisters. That might be interesting. And we got a letter from the police, as promised, with the list of names of people that are in hospital.
Yeah.
And it seems, quite frankly, based on the names we got, that they all seem to have a Creole background.
Yeah.
Which kind of got us in the idea of if voodoo is involved. Just, I know, cliche, but still a thought to keep holding on to.
So there was 3 victims. One, Matilda Bellefleur, 75-year-old, hepatitis victim in Westchester Hospital in New York City in the Bronx. Jean-Baptiste Laurent, 30-year-old hepatitis victim in the same hospital, and his possibly wife, whose first name I forgot to write down.
And the last thing also, we will have an interview with Miss McFarland. The day after, at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
To see if she's able to run our household.
Yep, indeed.
She sounded quite young, so let's see.
Yeah. And then, basically, pretty much the day ended with cooking, having. Well, I mean, that was pretty much in the morning, and then we didn't really get any further than that. So I suppose.
Wasn't that the day where we should go to the police?
No, that would have been the Tuesday.
Okay.
No. No, yes, it. Yes, no,
No, the next day.
The next day,
Yeah.
because on that day, Dottie then went to invited Sinead to lunch
True.
to kind of make up for lost time.
Yeah, and I gave her the hint maybe to just come clean about the job change and that she was, or honestly still is, really insecure how the family will handle that. And that she came clean about that, and at least that is not between the ladies anymore.
Yeah.
And it sounded afterwards that it went quite well.
Mm-hmm. And then she rang the doctor because you pointed out that it would be important to find out how much time she has left to make a decision.
True.
And the answer is 5 more weeks, because she's now pretty much in week 7.
Okay.
So after that, yeah, I suppose you called it, you were doing something intrusive. You gave her a hug, but she hugged you right back, because she is kind of a little bit wobbly. She's not doing so well. She is upset internally. And also a big thing is she can't go to Mass, because she can't take the host, because she has committed a deadly sin. So that's the additional burden.
Yeah.
And
Church.
Yes, and she doesn't want to face her family, although it's not showing yet. She simply can't, because she's Catholic, and this is basically the road to hell that she's on, and it's all terrible. And then Monday pretty much ended. She cooked, you had dinner. Don't know if you did much, but next we will jump to the next day, and you have a meeting at the precinct.
Yes.
To meet Jason Thompson and Mervyn Sands, who are the police officers who were paired with Connor O'Brien and Spence Murphy.
Yep.
Who are deceased and who have died of liver failure.
Mm.
And we know from Connor O'Brien's post-mortem that he actually doesn't have a liver anymore. So, you are still the breakfast person. You are working hard on it.
Mm-hmm.
So what's for breakfast today?
We don't have that much time, so some toast and some scrambled eggs.
Sounds perfect.
Quick and easy.
So, as usual, Dottie has laid the table. You have your breakfast. She has her tea. You have your coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And then the two of you call a cab, I suppose.
Yes.
Go down to the precinct, where Sergeant Updike basically is already expecting you. Ms. Baker. He does the bend at the waist, kissing your hand thing, which you so dislike.
Hey, older gentleman.
Older gentleman,
just go with
and
it.
he then also, he doesn't do the bowing down thing, but he takes Ms. Williams' hand, he kisses Dottie's hand, which means Dottie has to blush again. It's terrible for her. She's still not used to this whole attention thing. And then he leads the two of you into his office, and he says that the two gentlemen are already waiting and he's going to send them in. Would you like to speak to them separately or in one go?
We can talk to them together. This way we will quickly find points of connection, maybe. Inspector, also feel free to join, right?
No, I think it's best if you do this on your own. Would you like tea, coffee, water? It's a little bit early for sherry.
Water would be lovely.
And so he steps outside. He comes back with a carafe of water, several glasses. He puts them down, and then he says, "And now I will bring in the officers."
Thank you kindly. Alice will sit down.
Mm-hmm.
We'll pat the chair next to her for Dottie.
Dottie sits down. She takes out her notebook and her pencil that she's always with her, and then the door opens, and the two police officers, they're all in, all three of them are in uniform, but you can see that the two of them are, first of all, very young, and secondly, they don't have many stripes, so they're probably quite new, and he introduces them. And Mervyn Sands is kind of like a really red-cheeked, freshly scrubbed young man, whereas Jason Thompson has a beard. And they're both dark-haired and, of course, very short hair. They take off their hats and they bow. They don't kiss your hand.
That's very fine.
and stand to attention. And then Sergeant Updike, as you were, sit down, lads, answer the questions, and you'll be out of here in no time. I'll leave you to it.
Well, thank you, Inspector. I will close the door when he leaves behind
He
him.
actually closes it behind himself.
Well, thank you, sirs. Good morning for joining. Please feel free to grab some water if you're up to it.
Dottie starts pouring for everybody.
Well, we were curious. Just first of all, my condolences on your partners. I'm really sorry that this awful tragedy
both
happened.
Have black armbands.
And I'm glad to see that you both seem to be fine. Alice would look closely at them. Do they look sickly or quite okay-ish?
You don't even have to roll. They look quite okay.
Okay. It's quite rare that two young men die of the same thing in this close range, especially with all the other things happening as well. So I'm really curious on where your normal routes you are going on, because the inspector said you're working the Bronx Street. And I know it's a tough area to deal with, but is there a special route each of you had with your partner, and maybe did you have like crossing points where you both were meeting up?
They look at each other and then they basically try to find out who's going to start talking first. Then they start talking at the same time.
Mr. Sands first, maybe?
Yes, Miss. Well, you see, I'm fairly new, so this was my first beat. And
just breathe. You're not under suspicion. You're just helping to solve something.
So
Just
he's basically
take a sip.
He's kneading his hands. So basically, me and Mr. O'Brien, we basically do, and he names a part of the Bronx that you know enough that you know it's kind of like a really residential area. And as far as the Bronx goes, probably the one that is least criminal.
Okay.
There are quite a lot of elderly people there. You know, there isn't much going on, which I'm actually quite grateful for, because some parts of the Bronx, you know, can be quite dangerous. But you know, just before Mr. O'Brien took ill, there was we were called to basically that there was a fire.
Okay.
You know, a bookstore. Well, it kind of a bookstore. It
kind of.
Well, yes, they sell books and you know, religious trinkets and you know,
would
pictures of saints and stuff.
Would you mind to give me the name and address?
Yeah, the name is Le Petit Jésus, and it's one of them French people, and it basically there was a fire, and we were called, and it wasn't a big fire, so we just put it out, and you know the proprietress, she was fine, I suppose. I mean, she coughed. We took her to the hospital, but they said that she was fine. She said that it was some paper caught fire in the back office. Who knows?
Would you by any chance have a name?
Yes, and he takes out his his notebook, and he says that the name is she's called Maman Lavaux, but I'm pretty sure that she has a different name. But Lavaux is her last name. You know, she's from down south. She's you know, but you know the shop opened a couple of days later.
Okay.
And yes, and that was like the most interesting thing that happened. And shortly after that, Mr. O'Brien had to go to hospital because he collapsed.
Any chance? I know you well deserved after the job or your shift. Sometimes you just jump in to grab a beer before it goes home.
Oh, Mr. O'Brien was a teetotaler. He didn't drink.
Okay. So no stopping to meet up with other couples.
Oh no, we did meet up, but he didn't drink.
Okay, but
He,
special
he
place
strictly tea.
in the Bronx or somewhere else where you're
Yeah,
meeting up?
no. In the Bronx.
Which place?
He names a pub,
Okay.
the Green Lantern. Which sounds somehow familiar. I just made it up because I didn't expect that question. It's probably a superhero, isn't it, Green Lantern?
Yeah, he is a superhero. Okay, meet up. That's where the coppers meet.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Hans. Mr. Thompson, which part have you worked in with your?
Well, I mean,
colleague?
we're right in the middle of the French Quarter. Well, what we call the French Quarter. So that's where all them coloreds from the South live. Like they came up from Louisiana, right after emancipation.
Any
So right in the middle.
interesting things happening 1, 2, 3 days before your dear colleague had?
Well,
to
I
call in
suppose
sick?
it depends on how you define interesting.
Well, out of the normal.
Oh, well, no, because I mean, they kill each other all the time. So, you know, there was some stabbings, there was some thieving, there was some alcohol, you know, like bootlegging going on, but it's normal. It's what always happens.
Nothing out of the ordinary on the shifts. Slightly weird. Unusual. Place you've never been before.
No,
something-
no. Our beat is very regular. I mean, nothing burnt down like, or there were no fires like what Mervyn here it just described. No, it was quite run of the mill. But you know, there is always something happening. Like, you know, if it's not a stabbing, then it's a drive-by shooting. There are gangs. I mean, with the prohibition over, one would think that this would change, but no. They make their own alcohol and try to sell it.
Well, it's a way to make money in a business.
It's also
I guess.
illegal, miss.
I understand, and I'm thankful that you guys, or lovely fellas, are there to clean up. So nothing out of the ordinary.
Nothing out of the ordinary that I remember. I mean, it was more. I mean, it was coming up because Spence Murphy was the guy who fell ill around New Year's.
Yeah.
So of course there is kind of like revelers and stuff. You know, during that festive period, you know, those weird things that they do, like the beheading of the chickens and stuff. It kind of gets a little crazy like that. So there was lots going on.
Okay.
But it wasn't different from the previous year.
Good. Do you have any connections, or have you ever been to the Le Petit Jésus, or do you know Maman Lavant, just to be
Well, I know of her.
of her?
Everybody knows of her. Because if you've got a problem, that's where you go.
That's where you go. That is definitely then worth a try to talk to her, maybe.
He looks you up and down and says, "Good luck, miss."
Well, it's worth a try, I guess. Did you hear any other weird stories from?
I mean, you're not trying to go there yourself, right? The Bronx is very dangerous, miss.
I know. Thank you. Any other weird stories
Maybe
you
you
heard
could send
from
your brother.
Alice will just sit back. She will sip a bit of water, which she would love to have rather what I have in my hand, but it's early in the morning. Just again, did you, both of you, hear any other weird stories when you met up with your colleagues that were working other parts of the Bronx? I know a lot of stuff is confidential, but still, anything weird sticking out to you? Any other colleagues you know of that are sick?
I mean, the one thing that I noticed this time round for New Year's was that people were saying it's that they had noticed, you know, I don't believe in this, I'm a Christian man, but that it seemed like there was an ill will making itself known. Whatever that means, you know.
Well, that is a very good question. Probably it shows in quite different ways. No other copper missing or sick in action as you know of.
No, I mean, that would be widely advertised. I mean, then there would be a collection for the maybe widow or the children even. I mean, Connor O'Brien had 3 children. I mean, yes, they were all grown up already, 18, 19 and 20. But still.
Still, there's still a wife that needs
Yes.
support as well. Well, if you have nothing else, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, miss. And they get up and you can tell that they are very happy to be let go. They put on their hats, they salute, they walk out very quickly.
Dottie, next time I will need to sherry in the morning. That was not very helpful. The only place I would be curious to go to is the bookstore. What do you think? It's worth a try?
Well, it's at least a name and a place, but don't forget we also have 3 people in hospital that we can talk to.
Yeah, that would be the first stop, but then we could go to the Bronx, I guess.
The door opens again. Sergeant Updike steps in. Miss Alice, how did that go?
I'm not sure it was very helpful, but your lads
I am
were
so
very
sorry.
friendly and told whatever they could. There was just nothing special that happened. It's not their fault. If nothing happened, nothing happened.
It's still better than making something up just to please the audience.
I don't think they wanted to please me.
Were they unfriendly? I'll have a word.
No. They were completely fair and square.
They're both unmarried. This is difficult for them.
Did you hear from any other colleagues about out of the ordinary things happening in the last weeks?
Well, to be quite honest, I don't know how to say it, but the Bronx isn't exactly the safest part of the city.
I heard that several times now.
So everything is kind of out of the ordinary for a lady like yourself. I mean, notwithstanding your experience with the supernatural.
I was rather thinking about unusual jobs you had to, or cases that were coming up.
Just the usual.
Okay. Then I guess, Dottie, let's pack our stuff and let's go to the hospital and talk to the poor people. And let's hope they still have their livers.
She looks at you and then she looks at the sergeant, and you can tell that she wants to say something, but then she doesn't. And he said, "Oh, quite, miss, quite." And he does the bending at the waist. He kisses your hand.
Well, thank you for your support, and have a quiet rest of the day. I think that's the best to wish.
And you too, but I assume you will be in touch as soon as you found out something, because after all, these are my men.
Sure, in case also you're stumbling about any new weird things.
Of course.
I hope no other copper gets sick. I really hope only the 2 poor lads were the ones.
Yes, may they rest in peace. Dottie
Dottie
inadvertently blesses
like...
herself.
And, well, thank you. And
do you want me to order you a cab?
Well, that would be lovely.
Where to, miss?
To
Westchester?
the hospital.
Okay, so he makes a phone call and he orders a cab for 2 to the Westchester Hospital in the Bronx. And then he basically hangs up the phone and he basically stares at the wall and he says, "Going to the Bronx as you might be a good reason to carry. I assume you're carrying?"
I always... You don't have to worry about me. Or Dottie. We're quite capable to
Well, I
be
suppose
our charming selves.
it is difficult to not worry about 2 lovely ladies, the father of whom I could be, very easily. And I do know that you have family, and I don't want your father or mother to come to this lovely precinct and tell me off.
Well, I understand dearly. You don't want to meet my parents. I'm quite sure about that, but you won't have to. It's so fine. I've been in other places before. The Bronx will not be too
Well,
bad.
isn't that true? Isn't that true?
Others could even imagine out of game that at least within the group, Alice might have been to the
Yes,
Bronx for celebration here and
but
there.
that's something that he doesn't want to know.
No, but so we will wait for the cab.
Mm-hmm.
We'll
You
get
wait for the
in.
cab. You get in. The driver has the address. He takes you there. And then he says, "Would you like me to wait, miss?"
I don't know how long it will take. Just go. We will grab another one if we need it. Thank you so much.
Okay, so the Bronx is of course really, really seedy, and it is dangerous. And you can see people even as you drive through that are completely wasted and drunk, lying literally in doorways.
Yeah.
And even Westchester Hospital is a hospital that was built by a philanthropist who is actually who doesn't live in the Bronx. He's a Jewish merchant, very rich. And basically he decided that the Bronx should have its own hospital that looks after the people. And considering the clientele, it's interesting that it's actually really well kept because he funds it. So because if they had to pay for it, it simply wouldn't work. They wouldn't have enough money.
Yeah.
But still, it's a far cry from St. Joseph's, where you put up Dottie. But as the hospitals for the poor go, it's a good hospital.
It's a good hospital. Yeah.
So you go in, and of course there is and it's all run by it's not run by an order, but obviously still the nurses do wear some form of uniform. They all have wimples as well. So there is somebody sitting at the front desk, and she is very surprised because again, as you look around, everyone's black. You're the only white people.
Well, good. How late? It's still morning, day already.
I'd say it's around lunchtime.
Yeah.
Good day.
Then good day, ma'am.
Madam, yes, good day. What can I? You're not here to see family, I assume.
Well, we are here to see friends.
She raises an eyebrow.
Well, we're here to see the Laurent family. We heard quite sadly that both of them are in a hospital.
Laurent, and she basically looks, and I think it's actually
It was JB, and I only put in the
probably Martine.
Yeah.
I believe I said Martine. Yes, Jean-Baptiste and his wife Martine. Yes, they both have taken ill with hepatitis.
We know. Is there any way to visit them, or at least to talk to the doctor?
Yes, you can talk to the doctor. You can talk to them, but they are in very bad shape. But of course, you can try and talk to them if they are not delirious.
Well, then I just need the pointer on where I can find it.
Oh, I will show you. And she basically looks around, and they do have porters, or maybe they're even kind of like orderlies to ensure that nothing happens. And she beckons one of them to the nurse's station, and she explains to him where you need to go, and it's basically the ward for people with infectious diseases, pretty much the same ward that Dottie was on.
Yeah.
And he asks you to follow him. He's also white, as was the nurse. And here you pass. I mean, in the corridor there are trolleys because this is pretty much also the A&E. And there are people with wounds, sucking chest wounds. There are people who are really, like emaciated, coughing, maybe tuberculosis. So this is not a good place to be in. Dottie, you can tell, is very hesitant because not only is it about her, but whatever the future holds, she has a child now.
Yeah.
So she's kind of really edging quite close to you. And so you're led through this into a quite large room with 5 beds to each side, and they're just partition curtains between them. A far cry from Dottie's private home, a private bed that she had. And the Laurents are lying at the far end. And they are I mean, due to their complexion, the yellow skin doesn't look as yellow. It just looks like they're really gray in the face, but you can see it in the eyes that
Yeah.
are open, that the whites in the eyes gone completely yellow. And at least the man is kind of lying there, and his eyes sometimes flutter open and they close again, and he's breathing really laboredly. The woman seems to be kind of there, and you can see like nurses bustling about, and and so what do you do?
I would step closer to the woman's bed, like the end of the feet,
Yeah, yeah,
and would make sure that Dottie stays behind me, obviously.
yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to disturb you, miss.
Are you another nurse? I don't recall your face.
No, I'm part of an investigation because there were more cases like you happening, and we are trying to figure out what is causing this illness, that we can hope to find the proper cure.
The doctor says it's the liver.
Yes, but there needs to be a trigger somehow. So I would just be curious if, well, you've ever been to Le Petit Jésus or talking to Mama Laveau?
Well, maybe not. I mean, yes, of course, I've been to the shop, but just before New Year's, for the charms.
The usual thing you do to prep for the new year coming.
Yes.
I get that. Was your husband with you?
Yes, of course. We were hoping for a child.
And their charms are definitely helpful. That was a good investment. Okay.
Dottie is breathing in deeply.
Alice will from time to time look over to the husband. I know this sounds weird, but do you have any people that would really wish you ill?
I would hope not.
Or your husband? Any work?
Well, he's a mechanic.
Okay.
He doesn't do alcohol.
That is surprisingly good.
Well, his mama would come after him with a big spoon.
Rightfully so, I guess. And, well, yeah, but for a mechanic it doesn't make sense that there should be anything. Any neighbors? Nothing that you come in mind? Past fights?
No, I mean, I'm actually one of the lucky ones. We're childhood sweethearts.
That is a rare case. That you are one of the lucky ones. Do you by any chance know an older lady? Miss Bellefleur was her name.
Oh, she lives she lives in the same house as us, like on the top floor. Why?
Well,
she was born in the south
I
before the
guessed so.
war.
She
was born one of them slaves.
Then bless her soul that she was able to at least live through the times to see that there is more freedom. I know there's still a lot to go, but progress, bit by bit.
Why? What about her?
I'm just... don't worry. Alice would shortly think of... She would be quite sure that the address of the poor people the inspector would be able to get for them, because she doesn't want to intrude anymore. I think if I cost more of your time, the doctors will be very angry with me. Just take some rest, and we will try very hard to figure out what is the cause, and hopefully that we can find a cure. Just hang on. And
you can see that she is very weak, and her voice is actually not very strong.
Yeah. And yeah, we wish all the best. And I will motion to Dottie to step out. And I will have a look around if I can see a doctor.
Yeah, you can see a doctor. He's got a nameplate.
What is on the nameplate? I will, or if he's farther away, she will just blankly walks right up to her. Excuse me, doctor?
His name's actually Dr. Fredrickson. And he looks at you, he's got this harried look of a doctor who has way too many patients to attend to. And he's like, miss, I think that this is not the place that, have you got lost?
No, I was looking, are you tending also the patients in that, pointing to the room I just came out?
In that room, and in that room, and in that room, and everybody down here as well.
Oh boy, that's a lot to handle. I would definitely need to think.
Well, this is like I'm on a 24-hour shift. So if I could ask you to be brief, what is it that I can help you with?
Would you have 5 minutes just to step aside? I don't want to.
Yes.
I know you are quite busy, but some topics you should not discuss in the open.
We can go in there, and it's literally a broom closet.
Alice will go inside. Just a bit cautious, but I'm supporting the police in figuring out why so many sick people are turning up with liver problems and failures.
Well, I would like to know that too. In most cases, it's drink. But I've got 2 patients who say that they are teetotalers, and to be honest, I think they are.
Well, we also lost some policemen to same issues that worked in the same area as the people you have.
I believe it's the water. I think the city doesn't do enough.
But then we should have more cases on our hands.
Well, I certainly hope not. I mean, I will not lie to you. There is no cure. They are going to die. I mean, I'm happy if the husband lasts the night. And the wife isn't going to last much longer. And the older patient, the other one, she died this morning.
Miss Fleur.
Indeed.
Bless her soul.
I mean, it ravages the body, and she was never a very strong person. Well, I mean, I suppose, considering when she was born, that's not a surprise.
Not to be indecent, what did happen with her body? Because it would be good to have a check if she died on the same causes as the policeman did.
Well, let me assure you, I can diagnose a hepatitis when I see one. The yellow eyes are a dead giveaway, miss.
Just confiding in you, the policeman that died did not have any livers left, which is quite unusual.
Oh, he was probably a drunk and cirrhosis and shrinking.
They were not drinking. They were very young.
It is important. Well, to be quite honest.
We know it's impossible. I would just be really curious if Miss Bellefleur still has a liver.
How would you like me to find out? Do you want me to cut her open? Who's going to pay and who's going to do it? Do you think I have time?
Well, the question is if the body's still here.
Of course it's here. It's in the morgue.
Then I will talk to the morgue and to the police that we'll figure something out.
Are you next of kin? Because quite frankly, you don't look it.
Well, that is quite rude for you to say without knowing any family business, sir.
He looks you up and down. He's looking at a wasp. The lady in the morgue is an African-American, 75-year-old ex-slave.
Well, we're not family, but I heard from her. As I said, I'm here.
Miss, I'm sorry. So, yes, by all means, do go to the morgue. Ask them if they will release the body into your care. If I need to sign the papers, I don't have time for this.
Well, then...
Just be on your merry way. If you want the body, feel free, unless somebody else claims that you can have it.
Well, have a good day.
Do you walk out?
Yeah. She would just leave him there.
Dottie, basically, this happens. She's standing by. You walk past her. She looks at him. She smiles. She says, thank you very much, Doctor. That was most helpful. Then she follows you and she says, that was quite rude.
Well, he was not helpful at all. let's go downstairs. I think I saw a phone there. I'm not sure. But
Yeah.
I want to check if I can call the inspector just because it would be good to see if other people have the same issue as the coppers had.
Okay, so you go downstairs to
Yeah.
the nurse's station.
Yeah, I
There
will
is a
ask.
phone.
I'm willing to pay for it because I know phone calls cost money.
By all means, please dial 0 for the operator.
Then I will do so, and I will dial for the operator.
Operator.
Baker here. I would like to be connected to. I know the precinct he's in, and
Of course, dear. Click,
to the
click,
inspector.
click. Updike.
Baker.
Ms. Baker. How are things?
Well, the names you sent me, the older lady on the list died this night.
Oh, my word.
Also, the others are not looking good at all.
So there is nothing they can do for them.
It seems like, well, if the liver is not there, what should they do? There is no option.
Dottie kind of like,
I would be curious if you have any chance of possibilities to get the body of Miss Bellefleur that is still here stuck in the morgue to have an autopsy made, because it would be interesting to see if she died on the same things that your dear policeman died, or if it's a completely different case.
you mean an autopsy? Perform an
Yes.
autopsy? Well, I mean,
They just have to look for one thing. That should be quick and easy.
No, I'm just thinking, because strictly speaking, the Bronx isn't really, well, it's kind of my responsibility and it isn't, but I can certainly make arrangements. Are you still at the hospital?
Yes.
Could I speak to someone there?
Yes, sure. I will hand over and just like
Yeah.
the police for you.
Nurse Sampson? Let me check the record, Sergeant. And she opens a ledger which actually says deaths. There's another ledger which says births. And then a third one which says admissions. Yes, Matilda Bellefleur, deceased, hepatitis, 75 years old. No next of kin. No, she would have been, well, cremated. No, she would have been put in a pauper's grave. An autopsy. Release the body. You're going to pick it up. Well, I suppose. No, I will make a note and I will send word down to the morgue. Today. Yes, I would prefer if you could do it today because the morgue only has so much capacity and we try to... Yes. Uh-huh. Yes. All right. All right. Yes, I will make a note. Yes. No. Yes. Would you like to... And... I'm sorry, miss, he's already hung up.
Well, he's always quite short on time. It's not the easiest way with him, but thank you so much for your help. And I have one last question. Would you have any way of connecting us to a cab driver that knows the area around here that we are safe to drive around with? Obviously, for good payment.
Well, so you want a local driver?
Yes.
There's always Louis.
How can we reach him?
Well, I can ring him.
That would be very lovely. Thank you so much.
So she rings a number.
Mm-hmm.
And then, she dials the operator, then she gets put through, and then you actually hear a woman's voice on the other end, which answers with the name of a pub.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says, well, I have two ladies here who need Louis. Yes, no, here at the Westchester. Well, then tell him to stop cleaning the car. Yes, now. How long do you require his services for, miss?
At least an hour?
At least an hour. Yes. 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 10 minutes? Yes. All right. Yeah. Yes. No, tell him to just come in. They're waiting at the nurse's I will not ask them to wait in the street. Well, once he sees them, he will understand. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much.
10
Also,
minutes.
that is perfectly fine. I will have a check on if we have any ways to get more funds for this surprisingly well run hospital. You can be
Well,
quite proud of the place.
well, Mr. Abrams makes sure that the funds run, but of course,
One man can only do so much.
oh
The,
yes, you understand, do you?
the people in the city should support it more because it's good that everywhere there are proper hospitals with good staff.
She smiles. She's a lot less harried than the doctor.
So, thank you very much. I hope the day will not be too crazy. I think a calm day is a good day in hospital.
Well, let me tell you this, miss. Tomorrow is the full moon. The full moon is always worse. That's when the crazies come out.
I heard that a lot of children come out that, well, birthing is nevertheless. Just thinking of Dottie in the background. We were just, there are probably some seats
Yes,
taken.
yeah,
we
there
were
are.
just sitting by the side,
There are also some plants, so
not being in the way. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
yeah, and so after 10 minutes, a man walks in, and he is African American. He looks interesting. He's about maybe your age. And his dress is interesting because he wears pinstriped trousers,
Good taste.
black shoes with white toppings, and a silk vest over a white shirt,
Good taste.
and a fedora hat.
Well, that sounds perfectly dressed.
He walks up to the nurse's station. She greets him, and then she just points to. She does a very elegant motion pointing towards the two of you. He comes towards you.
I would be already up.
He is very tall, and he's. Do you look at him closely?
Yeah, sure, Alice.
He's got the most beautiful hands. Really beautiful, very slender, quite long fingered, like a musician's hands. And he bows. Not as stiffly as the. He bows more like somebody who knows how to dance really well.
I think in reflex, Alice would have already had her hand out.
And he takes your hand and he turns it around and kisses it.
Oh, wait, no need for that, but thank you, Mr. Louis. We were told you are
Oh, it's just Louis.
someone that knows the area well and would be able to drive us around, obviously for the proper payment. And may I say, your outfit is top-notch on spot.
He gives you a really broad smile, and you can see a set of full teeth. So obviously somebody who looks after himself as well. And then he takes you outside. He opens the door. He lets you sit down. And he closes the door. He walks around, opens the door for Dottie, does the same thing. Then he sits down in the driver's seat. What do you know about cars?
Well, I can operate them quite well. I'm not sure I'm very deep into cars themselves. Just a little bit that you need for some small talk if needed.
What you do notice is it gleams in the sun, and the seats are leather, and they have been scrubbed. Probably they're really, really, really clean. This is some taxi, and it doesn't say cab or anything on it. It's not. It's also not yellow.
Oh, this is a very well loved and kept car.
He's all smiles. Where to, miss?
Well, first, Baker is my name, and this is my associate assistant. Partner. I would say partner by now. Miss Williams, we heard about that there's a special place everyone should visit from time to time around here, and that's the Le Petit Jésus, because we heard a lot about Maman Laval, and I'm really curious on meeting her because I would have one or two questions and maybe she can help me. Not sure if she's willing to, but I want to
Well,
give it a try.
The ladies usually come for one of three reasons. They want a child, they don't want a child, or they're trying to get a love potion.
Well, it would be our business on why we're here, but I would be really curious to see. After I heard from a few persons now, because it seems she's known in the Bronx.
Oh, yes, she is.
Is there anything that she likes? Like, I don't know, good tea, cigars. I'm not sure what she would be interested in. Cigars, probably not. Coffee?
How about we just go there and you meet her first, and then you make up your mind what the price is.
That is also an idea. And would you be able to just wait outside for us? Because I'm not sure if there will be
Of course.
other places we have to go.
And he drives through the Bronx, and that is now really run down. I mean, again, this is more like what the first copper told you. This is a residential area, but I mean, residential. Whoever owns those buildings might want to do some work on them, and I'm not talking about paint. And then there is the and Le Petit Jésus is really just kind of like it probably was a downstairs flat, and somebody just broke through the brick wall, put in a stoop, and then the door. It doesn't have a shop window,
Okay.
so it just basically says on the door Le Petit Jésus. And then he says, "Well, I will just wait outside for you, miss."
Thank you so much. Dottie,
And then,
do you want to wait outside or come?
She just gives you this horrified look. There is no way she's going to stay on her own out there.
Okay, thank you. And also for this part, Alice would have made sure to already pay that he is safe and sound, that he will get money for this.
You see that he actually goes across the road. There's kind of like a mom and pop shop, and they have like a big box, because it is March, so it's still cold, with bottles of Coke and stuff, and he just gets a bottle, he goes inside and presumably pays.
Yeah.
So the two of you go there. The door is like a black wooden door, and it's got a little bell. Do you ring the bell, or do you try the handle?
No, I will ring a bell if it
Okay.
has a bell.
So you ring the bell. After about 2 minutes or so, you because it's got like a rhombus shaped window in it, you see the face of a young woman, maybe 20, with a very interesting hairdo. So it's kind of like the hair is tall. She's got kind of like a wide scarf around it. So think Erika Badu.
Yeah.
And she opens the door and she says, "Bonjour."
Oh, bonjour. We are here to talk to Maman Laval on some business.
She looks you up and down. Are you sure you've come to the right place? People like you don't usually require our services.
Well, it's the right name and the right place, and I heard a lot, and I was told this is the place to go.
Are you a believer? Because she can do nothing for those who don't believe.
I believe in a lot of things. Say open-minded.
I will see if she has time for you.
Thank you very much.
Do step inside. And she steps to the side. And now you can see that you are standing in someone's flat. This is what this looks
Okay.
like. So it's probably the living room. Window maybe 120 by 120, and it's full of shelves, and even the room is partitioned off by shelves, and the ick factor is kind of high. You see some insects, some spiders, some iguana suspended in jars. You see the smell is quite overwhelming. It looks like you've stepped into someone's, I don't know, herb pantry.
Yeah.
And there are there are jars, and it says on them, like, you know, things like mandrake, wormwood, really big jars that remind you of the jars you may have seen in tea shops.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are lots of candles that she sells. They seem to have different flavors. Well, not flavors, but odors, like lavender, like whatnot. Some of them are black. There are also very many. It looks like somebody lost a quiver because there are just plenty of feathers, all of them black.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a coop with live chickens. Yeah.
Open-minded.
Open-minded. Dottie is...
I would turn around because I suspect the young lady will walk
Yeah,
off.
she's actually gone through a curtained door frame.
Dottie dear, if you feel safer, I'm quite sure the cab is a safe place. I don't want to put you here if you're uncomfortable with.
If I have to choose between out there with, like...
I think Mr. Louis is a really...
Okay, 1930s, he's black.
I know.
For her, this is...
Alice doesn't
Yeah,
have
for you, it's
that much.
For you, it's
I
different.
know society regulations, but generally there are the best jazz musicians and others out there, and they're wonderful people. So I honestly don't care as long as they're behaving well.
Dottie has turned into the literal klutz that she's not normally. She has walked right into one of the shelves. It started to wobble. Something has fallen down. So she's now...
Dottie, just stay behind me. Just stay away. Maybe just stay at the door.
Yeah, Dottie isn't doing well.
Take a deep breath, and I will hand her the... in that time... It's not like nowadays. Did the people back then know that you shouldn't drink when you're pregnant?
She has been drinking, and if she... I don't know
I'm
if
not
people...
sure.
I don't think... because people were smoking as well, so
Yeah,
it
that's
wasn't
true, that's
known
true.
what the...
Then I would hand her I would just go in my handbag, hand her a flask. Just for the nerves, dear. Just a sip.
She does sip from it, and she holds onto it.
That's fine. She can hold on to it.
And then you...
But I would have a look around while we wait and just...
You also see plenty of pictures of the saints.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can make a listen roll, considering that we're looking at your...
Oh god, character sheet.
Oh, nice.
52 should be definitely... Oh,
Yeah.
barely success, yeah.
You can hear two people talking,
Mm-hmm.
and you can hear by the cadence of the conversation that it's definitely held in French.
Mm-hmm. I can do a little French.
Yes, it's kind of like more. You hear a young voice that is kind of urgent, and then you hear an older voice, quite an old voice. It's also a female voice that is more calm, and then you hear footsteps, but they are quite slow, and it's somebody that's trudging along. And then you see the curtain move, and the slim hand of the young girl or young woman moves the curtain aside, and she leads she looks ancient. A very old African American woman with very, very long hair that she is basically... It's a very elaborate hairdo that she's wearing. And she is completely wrinkled. She looks very old. And you can see that she is blind because she has these milky cataracty eyes. And she's holding on to the girl's arm, and the girl is leading her in, and you can hear them, and and she keeps saying to her in French, and you know enough French, that this is necessary, that you're not a believer, and also that you're not a Creole. But then then the old lady speaks in English, and she says, "Hush, child, it's my decision," and she comes towards you. And she the two of them halt so that there is enough distance between the two of you, so as not to intrude into your personal space. And then she has a. You've probably heard the accent before, so this is definitely somebody who grew up speaking French, French Creole. So her English is very accented, and she, but for some reason she manages to look you in the eye. So it's like she's really looking at you. She's not just looking in your direction. It looks like she's looking at you, and she says, "My niece here tells me you need my services."
I'm hopeful that you might be able to help. So thank you very much for taking the time. I'm sorry that my French is not good enough for full conversation in it.
Oh, child, that's quite nice, and what you're saying already, because I assume you were speaking French. Oh
That,
wait, yeah.
No, that would have been a part in French, and after that she would have it. So it would be the question if English would be fine.
Of course, child. I've been here since 1871.
You must have seen a lot happening.
Yes.
So
Even
many
after I lost my eyes.
interesting stories to hear. Alice Baker, my name. I would step one step forward.
She
And in reflex probably would hold out my hand.
And she takes your hand with both her hands, and she says, and she shakes it, and she says, "Yes. And have you come because you want my help, or do you want my help for your friend?"
Well, for my friend, we will figure it out in peace and quiet. But, well, I know a lot of people turn to you for help in regards to, let's say, family matters. But I also heard you
She
might
chuckles.
be able to help with other things. Just looking around here, you know far more than that. I'm sure of that. You look like one of the wise people in, now my English is failing me, society groups. I'm trying to figure out how Alice would phrase it. You know, like the wise woman within, like, not a family, but within a group of people. Like a neighborhood or so.
Yeah,
I'm
well, I would
just
say even,
looking
well,
for the word.
I know what you mean, and I don't know the word because it's not a tribe, but it's kind of
But
like,
it's kind of like a tribe, yeah.
Maybe even community.
Community.
Yeah.
You look like one of the wisest people of the community around here.
Well,
Much wiser than communities I usually confer in.
those who believe can be helped. Do you believe?
I believe in a lot of things, not sure in the right things, but I have an open mind. But I would be really curious if you would know anything about keeping, let's say, outerworldly. Well, she calls herself deity, god. I would call her probably demon. At bay?
Oh, you need a warding charm.
At least one. Probably more. The more the better.
Interesting enough, she closes her eyes. Don't know what difference that would make, and she says, and she basically seems to be looking inward. It looks like the warding charm would be coming a little too late in your case.
Well, I'm hoping.
Well, child, why don't you sit down and you tell me all about it? And she turns around, she says, "Maxine, lock up the shop and make us some coffee." And Maxine answers in French, and you can hear it's kind of like she's kind of again upset, and kind of like it's an urgent conversation she's having, to the effect of she cannot leave Lavo alone with you because you're clearly an unbeliever. You're also, just in case she hadn't noticed, you are white. And she basically just says her to hush and get the coffee and just go and stay at the back of the shop. And then she lets go of her niece's hand and she just walks past you and around the corner of one of the shelves, past Dottie, and takes Dottie. Basically, she puts her hand around her waist and basically moves Dottie along with her. And then past that shelf, there is actually a little, yeah, it's like a little, two sofas, just two seats each in the corner. And then there's a little, very low table. And there is an ashtray. And she basically takes, there are cigarettes on the table. She takes a cigarette out of it. She seems to be absolutely, it looks like she's a seeing person.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And she takes the cigarette, she takes out a lighter from the, or she takes a lighter from the table, and she smokes. And oh my god, does that smell like maybe something she made herself. It's ghastly.
Poor Dottie, but...
Well, you don't like the smell either. It's terrible. You're a smoker, but that's...
Yeah, no, but well...
Yeah. Like very bad cigars.
Thank you for taking the time.
And she sits down, and all the time she's holding Dottie's hand.
I will probably just pat Dottie on the back.
Yeah, Dottie, stability test, that's a fail. She doesn't even need to roll, she loses 3. She is... This is trying.
Well... How to summarize this the best? We ask for help to save this one's, nodding to Dottie, life. And, well, we got the help, but not from someone we actually wanted help from. Someone felt invited that was not really invited. And I would like to make sure that she will never show up in my bedroom again. Or in any other room in my house.
I see.
Well, best way would be never in one of our lives again, but not sure if we can do that, but at least keeping the house safe. If you have any ideas.
Who was she?
I don't want to frighten you.
She smiles.
Well, we know her under the name Mother of the Shadows. I'm not sure what name you know for her.
Oh, she's a very, very, very powerful Loa. Only very few people have ever clapped eyes on her and yet live.
Well, I would rather not have seen her and still be alive. She was quite stubborn. She didn't want to really make a proper deal or talk about anything. She was just gloating and then leaving again.
Well, my child, you have met someone that is truly powerful.
Sadly, that's the only thing I can confirm. She seems to be powerful. Not helpful, but powerful.
Well, what was the bargain?
We are not sure yet.
So you asked her to save your friend, and your friend seems saved.
Well, kind of. Not properly. Also, she never stated the price. Usually, I know from other out-of-worldly things that they name the price and then you make the deal. And usually there's like small lettering that you give more than you intended to. But I did not even know I asked her. I asked, honestly, someone else. And,
Well, usually we don't invite them. I would never ever ask for them to appear. I mean, we do ask some of them to appear. And they take possession. It's done willingly. And then you can get something from them. Usually we ask small favors, like the love of that someone, or a child, or health.
But we didn't have a possession, and we didn't ask them for anything.
Well,
I was in church.
Ah, my child. Church is just another word for holy ground.
I'm not sure she's holy.
Why, look at this ground here, and she basically... And I take one of them chickens and I take its head off, and then this becomes holy ground.
That's much easier than the churches we build up. Takes a lot more to make them holy. But practical.
But the effect is the same.
Well, then it's still the main question. Is there a way to keep them out of at least your house? Because I honestly don't want to rebuy my lipstick again.
She laughs. And then the girl comes with the coffee. It's very strong coffee.
Oh, that's good coffee.
And
Alice will be very nice in French. Say merci beaucoup.
the girl isn't happy that you're here. She replies in French in a friendly manner, but you can see that she's kind of she's not down with this. Dottie sits there. She's holding onto the cup, not drinking from it because it gives her a chance to extract her hand from the old lady's hand. And then, so you want me to ward her off?
That would make sleeping easier without worrying all the time.
So be it. But you would be the envy of so many people I know. Well, to summon her and to get a reply.
They haven't met her. As I said, she's a bit not helpful.
Ah, well. I guess this puts new meaning to the sentence, be careful what you wish for.
Well, I for sure am careful now, but, well, now we have her on our heels. I still don't know why she thinks we are interesting, but, as I said, it would be nice to at least keep her out of the house, so we can have a safe
you
place.
Definitely have seen many things that most people haven't seen. I know this one, and she puts her hand on Dottie's knee. She's been through the veil. Dottie has to hold on to her cup because it's already starting to shake.
Well, we both have been through quite a lot, and she will have to struggle through not dying, as many others did in the beginning of the year. We heard that it seems that at least the change from last year to this year makes that this year is a quite, let's say, not so good year.
How so?
Not sure. A lot of death, unusual deaths. Also from people around here that you probably know. And I know that all the outwardly beings can do quite some damage if you ask them for it, as well as they can help if you ask them rightly.
What are you exactly talking about, my child?
I don't know if you know the old Miss Bellefleur, for example. She is from around here. She has been here for a long time.
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact.
I am terribly sorry to tell you that she did not make it.
Oh, she's died.
Well, I'm quite sure I would call it she was cursed, and she died from it. Because if things are missing inside you, usually the body fails to function.
What are you talking about exactly? Missing things from inside you?
Have you ever heard of someone, or did anyone ask, I know, confidential work, I guess, but would there be, I don't know how you call it, demon, deity, goddess, that would steal organs for Whatever in return?
She puts down her cup and the saucer on the table and spills some of it, and she says, and she, in French, she recites the first 2 lines of the Lord's Prayer, and she says, "You don't want to talk about these things."
Well, I'm investigating these things. That is the second part why I'm here. The warding part is the one thing. That is honestly the most precious to us too. The other thing is the investigation part.
What organs?
The liver?
Mon Dieu. And then she says something in Creole that you don't understand.
Yeah.
And then she calls out, "Maxine!" And Maxine comes running. And she says, "Maxine, it is very important that you get me." And then she rattles off a list of things. And Maxine seems to have a really good memory because she doesn't take any dictation. She just runs off and starts grabbing stuff from shelves. And then she, Maman Lavaux turns to you. She takes both your hands. She says, "How many and where?"
It seems like all around the Bronx. Well, Miss Bellefleur, I think you also met the Laurent family.
Yes,
were
they
here.
came here. They wanted.
They are.
They were hoping for a child.
Yeah.
I did what I could, and I'm pretty sure that they will be expecting soon.
No, they will not. I highly doubt they will make it through the next days.
How so?
They are in hospital with the same symptoms as. Well, the others that already died of it. We also lost policemen. As I mentioned, would nicely pointed.
How many?
Policemen. So far, I know from 2, and there are a few more in hospital.
I need exact numbers because she starts counting. 1, 2,
Well, we heard of
5.
5 plus the 2 coppers.
No, 3. That's
Three,
including
the
the couples,
3.
yeah.
So far, 5. I'm honestly not sure if there is a 6th looking at Dottie that might have jumped the edge of the knife with the help of a outer being.
When she notices that you are, Dottie notices that you're looking at you, she blanches.
Also, I would like to look at the old lady to see if she really seems shocked and surprised, or if, because Alice is still not 100% sure if that lady's on a good or on a bad side.
She you see that she's holding up her hands, so she has been counting on her fingers up to the number 5, and then when you say, she brings it up to 6, and she says, "And tomorrow's the full moon." Six more. And we will have a dozen. That is very evil. Magic you are talking about, my child.
Yes, indeed. But, as I said,
Who's performing it?
I don't know. I'm afraid.
Do you know what it does?
I only know the result. People die, because if you don't have a liver...
No, you misunderstand. There's a difference between what you need to do to perform the magic and what the magic does.
I honestly...
Consider it making an omelette. I make the omelette, but I need the ingredients first.
I honestly don't know who would be even in the position to cause such a thing, because...
Well, I mean, I suppose you are talking about doigt de lance. So that's doigt de lance, and that means spear finger in French. And you know this.
Mm-hmm.
You know enough French to know this.
I never heard of him.
Her.
Her.
And I'm not surprised that you haven't heard of her. She's not exactly the person that you would build an altar to in one of your churches.
Well,
she's a very evil Loa.
So not human.
No, not human at all. Far from it. She's
not. Alice would go in her mind. It's not one of the sisters, is it?
Do you say that out loud? No, that wasn't a name that was mentioned.
She would go through if it's one of the three sisters.
No.
Well, I'm still, as I told your niece, I'm open-minded. I'm learning a lot because I am learning every day that there's much more out there than I initially thought there was. So where can I learn more about her?
That depends on what you want to learn about her. My advice is stay clear of her if you want to live. She is only evil. She only has one goal.
But usually someone asks them to do it or calls for a favor.
No, she's been commanded.
By someone.
By someone.
The question is who?
Well, that I do not know, but I can tell you want to meet that person even less. That is evil magic. Magic the likes of which I would never ever entertain in my mind. Not in my wildest dreams.
The thing is, it sounds like what you said. If we reach the number 12, we will have a problem. We need to stop.
Well, you see.
Innocent people are dying.
Yes, innocent people are dying so that others may live.
I highly doubt the Laurents deserve to die.
No, I'm not saying that at all. But I think you need to understand what this is. The droit de lance is commandeered by a very, very, very evil and very powerful Bokor. A person so full of black magic that they can summon one of the darkest, what you would call demons, and command her to do his bidding.
Maybe I should ask the other demon goddess if she would be willing to help them.
The droit de lance steals people's livers and delivers the livers to her master.
What do you do with livers? Except cooking them, because livers usually at least. And
you extract the essence from the liver and you use that essence to brew a concoction that allows you to leave your body and go into a new one. Repeat this every 30 to 40 years and you have eternal life. You are looking for somebody who is potentially very old and who's been traveling from body to body for God knows how long.
Do you just need to do it once with one, or do you need to have 12 to do the ritual?
You have 12 per human that wants to travel.
Okay, so if one person, he needs 12, so he's halfway, or she, whatever it is halfway there.
If number 6 is already...
I'm not sure if... Side-eyeing Dottie again. I think 6 was a failure, so he's at 5, or she. I don't want to judge. Honestly, women can be just as powerful as men.
You mean 6 is a failure, why?
No, not yet.
Oh.
But they are still not there yet. They need more than the 5 they will have in a few hours, probably.
Oh, no, it's going to take a while. Nothing will happen during the night of the full moon and the 2 nights around it.
Okay.
Droit de lance's power waxes and wanes with the moon. But unlike the fairy tales where the full moon gives you power in her case. It's the new moon. So for the next couple of weeks, probably you're unlikely to clap eyes on her.
That gives us time to search.
I would advise you not to go in search of her. And if you must, don't bring her. She's vulnerable.
I know. Although she's much stronger than she makes the first impression of. She probably doesn't even know. I will probably pat her knee.
She's not alone.
Yes. Something we will deal with. Also, she's missing something.
She's missing something?
Yes. Which brings me to the third part. And I know it's quite a lot I'm coming with, but I rarely have the chance to meet someone with the wisdom you have.
I would say roll charm, but that's the wrong system. But you could roll in...
Oh, let's see, what do we have? Education.
Roll on persuade.
I think persuade makes sense.
Oh dear.
No, that was too much.
Your natural charm
Does not
washes
work.
off her.
Too much. I understand. Sorry. Habits.
So what is it that she is missing?
Her shadow. And honestly, I found nothing yet that indicates that except the story of Peter Pan that loses his shadow and gets back. And I highly doubt Peter Pan took a shadow.
Well, I think you know who took her shadow.
Okay, so the easy answer. And the answer that we will never get a shadow back.
I'm not saying that, but I suppose you know who took the shadow, don't you?
I'm afraid so, but as I said, she's quite difficult to work with because she doesn't care.
Have you never wondered what she's doing with the shadow?
I'm scared to know. Hanging it on the wall as decoration?
I doubt that she has a wall to hang it on to, but it's not far off. Do you want it back?
I would love to. I'm just afraid that it means I have to talk to her again. Maybe I should find another lipstick color that she would like.
Do you want me to get it back for you?
I don't want to endanger another one. We already had enough problems with her. I don't want to pull in anyone else.
I'm not in danger of her.
You have not met her, did you?
I haven't met her, but she hasn't met me either. What will you give me if I get her shadow back?
I honestly have no idea what a shadow is worth. Maybe you name a price.
A shadow is immaterial, so it's worth whatever you want it to be. I ask you again, what will you give me? You can feel Dottie more than you can see tense up. And do you look at her?
No. I'll probably stare at the lady in front of me and just feverishly thinking of something that is not money, diamonds, pearl earrings, or anything like that. I'm honestly not sure what would be worth a shadow. And I don't... What do I have to give? 1 or 2 years of my life would be the only thing I come up with. As I said, this is new territory for me. If you have other ideas, I'm open to listen to it.
You would give 1 or 2 years of your life for me to restore her shadow.
Yes. Too much?
Do you know what you're saying?
A few days of my life?
That will do.
Good.
And she gets up and she sidesteps you because she sat down kind of in the corner. And again, it's this eerie feeling of somebody who is blind, but she knows. And she says, come back tomorrow night at the full moon. Both of you.
I will not look at Dottie. Because I'm quite sure she's murdering me with her eyes. Okay. Anything we have to
And
bring
I will
with us.
claim my prize.
Okay. In regards to the warding charms,
Maxine will be finished. Leave her address. Leave your address with her. I will see you there tomorrow.
so you come to our place.
Well, you wanted me to ward her off. How am I going to... I don't need to ward her off here. She will never enter.
Very true, very true. Okay, we will do so. Thank you. Kindly.
Don't thank me yet.
Alice will probably stare at the old lady longer than it's appropriate. But then gets up. Thank you for your time.
She nods graciously.
I will grab Dottie by the hand.
Au revoir.
What is that? Total line. And I will give my address to Maxine, what's the name?
Who glares at you. She is so absolutely unhappy about your being there, but she doesn't say a word beyond merci beaucoup. À bientôt.
I will just very friendly say thank you and goodbye, and we'll step outside.
Louis is cleaning the car. He's got like one of those leather cloths and he's caressing the metal. Miss, where to next?
She's still not looking at Dottie. Probably still holding her hand, but not looking at her. Would you be up for driving also up to Manhattan, sir?
Of course.
Then
And Louis is fine.
I will try to remember that, Louis. Then, yeah.
Dottie chuckles.
Let's go home, I guess.
You give him your address?
Yeah,
He drives you there.
the whole drive. She's probably staring the neck of Louis down, but not looking at Dottie.
You arrive.
Mm-hmm.
You go inside. Do you go first and unlock, or do you let Dottie go first and unlock?
I think I'll let Dottie go first because I will take care of payment.
Mm-hmm.
I will also tip very well. I will thank him for the wonderful ride.
He does his very elegant. He bows elegantly and he takes your hand and he kisses it.
And I would also ask him, in case we need to go back to the Bronx, if there's a way I can contact him.
He takes out a business card
Ooh.
of a club, Le Chat Noir. And he says, ring this number, madam,
And
if you want to find me.
thank you very much. And have a safe drive.
And he gets in the car and he drives off. Dottie has opened the door, stepped inside, picked up Maeve, of course, because Maeve is interested in everything, but you don't want her to run outside. And, well, you step into the hallway. Of course, there is no Dottie.
I will very slowly close the door behind me. Will put my coat on the hanger, the scarf next to it, and will directly walk towards the salon.
Where Dottie is standing next to the fireplace.
I will directly go towards the drinking tray and fix 2 drinks. And will step up next to her and just put the glass on the mantle of the fireplace in front of her.
She's livid. What were you thinking?
Well, we need to fix.
What were you thinking? Offering 1 or 2 years of your life?
What does 1 or 2 years mean? Nothing. There's no other way to fix this.
You cannot endanger your immortal soul like that.
I'm quite sure my soul is already quite lost with all I've been through.
This... Alice.
If you have other options, how we get your shadow back.
Giving up a span of your lifetime isn't an option.
It's just 1 or 2 years.
You are...
I would give up more for you. If needed.
This woman is a charlatan.
We will see if it's like that.
Alice.
We've been...
You already nearly died once.
Yes.
And now you're giving up part of your life.
It's not that I'm giving up half of my life.
Well, you don't know that. You're giving up 2 years or 1 year. If you were only going to be 34, you'll be dead this year.
Then it is like it is.
You're not... This isn't funny.
I'm not making a joke. I'm trying to patch up things the only way I know how to do
We're
it.
talking about me not having a shadow. How is that worth even 1 fraction of a day of your life?
You are not complete. She has something from you. And honestly, I'm quite afraid what she's able to do with you via that.
One of these days, Miss Alice, so help me God. You're impossible.
The impossible Alice Baker. I like that. It's quite fitting.
She has her drink. And she sits down on the sofa.
My main concern at the moment is that I highly doubt we will be able to save whoever is next on the list of losing their liver. The only good thing, if I get it right, if they are done, there should be peace and quiet again.
Yeah, but she said that this is something that occurs every 30 to 40 years. So do you just want to leave it like that and just hope that next time round we won't be here?
No, but also we have enough on our desk with our demon following us around. I'm not sure I want to
She's
deal
not
with
following us around. The way I understand it is she's done with us.
I will probably look a bit too long at Dottie's belly.
What are you thinking? Yes, I'm pregnant. We've been through that. She doesn't care.
Well, she said you will pay the price.
And I am paying a price. The same that you paid.
I don't think it's the same.
How?
I did not study demon goddesses. I know not more than you know.
I don't understand what you're saying. I'm pregnant. That's bad enough. What else could go wrong?
Not sure if you're pregnant because of her and not because of you. Honestly, I'm quite sure it's her doing. Which also means you're off the hook. God?
What?
That's the only price I can imagine at the moment that you are paying. She's making you pay. It's her doing.
You mean it's her child?
I don't know. I'm a little bit worried that it might. I'm hoping not. But I'm out of my knowledge about this. We haven't faced demon goddesses before. I can deal now with bird people. I can deal with a Wendigo. Even childish ghosts.
What are you saying? That I'm bringing a demon into this world?
I don't know. But it might be a tiny option. Although she says she's a goddess, not a demon. And honestly, Miss Naval didn't seem too worried about Mother of Shadows compared to whatever is taking the livers. My main worry at the moment is, were you one of them that was planned for being taken? You got sick exactly at the same time the coppers got sick.
Yeah, but I recovered. There was never any question that my liver was wrong or not there or not working.
Because the Mother of Shadows brought you back. It might be that you jumped off completely different edge of a knife that we didn't even know was there.
So I jumped off that. I didn't fall down that cliff, but jumped off another.
Well, the thing is, you did not. I made you kind of do it with my praying.
So you mean I was a victim to begin with, and
Yes.
then just the villain changed?
Yes. And at least the second part is my fault. Not the first part.
Well, I mean, if what you're saying is true, then I can be happy to be alive, because without a liver I wouldn't have made it.
That is true. Also, I promised you not to dug into what you were doing when you were on the weekend. In which areas were you around? Have you been in the Bronx? I don't care who you met.
Yes.
Or details.
Yes.
Can you point out where? Because there must be a place, any connection between the coppers, the old lady, the Laurence, you. There must be a place where you all circle around. And I highly doubt it's Maman Avant, because I don't think you've been there before. I hope so.
No, I haven't. We went to a club.
There are good clubs in the Bronx.
It's called Le Chat Noir.
The one Louis mentioned.
When she wasn't there. She didn't hear him say it.
Oh, true.
She had already walked in.
Well, our cab driver can tell us a lot about that place.
What?
She would pull out the card and just hand it.
It's a jazz club. It's mixed.
It would be the question if Alice would have at least heard of that club.
Yes, well then. Roll intelligence.
Let's do that.
Straight up.
Because it would be generally something she would frequent, or at least people she know would frequent.
Oh, yes!
3!
Yeah, that's a critical success. Yeah, yes.
Well, I know of the place. I've never been there yet. It's still on the to-do list. Not sure I should... I think we should go on another drive with Louis. Maybe ask him. Although the couples didn't seem to...
You want to go to that club?
I'm not sure. I honestly don't want to be number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 11, or 12.
I couldn't possibly.
I don't ask that you have to go there again. It's a bit like just grabbing at straws at the moment.
He would be there. She's looking at her drink.
Mm-hmm. Which exactly the point why you don't have to go there. Well, first of all, let's get a map of the Bronx organized. We need a street map.
You have street maps because she got a huge map of New York City when she pinpointed the gardens.
Also the Bronx in there? Okay. Then Alice would walk over to the bookshelf where the maps are, would pull it out, would probably use the dining table because it's a big table. Or no, she would go into the kitchen and use, because there's also a kitchen table where you can sit.
Absolutely.
She would straighten it out there. She would grab a few things that are standing around that she can just use as markers. And would start to mark, there's the hospital, there is the Le Petit Jésus, and then would try to find out where, based on the address, where the Chat Noir is.
Yeah, and you notice that it's a triangle. Also, you have the addresses where Mademoiselle Bellefleur and the Laurents live, and it's a triangle. So, and not with the hospital is kind of like on the outskirts, but that's a triangle that points due south.
And then I would look also the routes where the cops are going. Not sure. I guess the area where the better people are living is not within the triangle.
No, it's actually due north of it. That's a very rundown part. There are also a lot of derelict houses.
So the triangle is built from which points?
So you have Le Chat Noir in the south. Then you have in the north east, you have Le Petit Jésus. And in the northwest, you have the house or the apartment block where where Mademoiselle Bellefleur and the Laurents lived.
Well, at least to my idea, it would be worth asking Louis for another drive around the Bronx to at least have a look at the apartment where the Laurents lived. And honestly also to make a stop at Le Chat Noir. Because look at this, Dottie. It's surprisingly perfect triangle.
It is a perfect triangle. She looks at you and she says, What if he's there? What am I going to say?
As I said, you don't have to go inside. You can also just ignore him, to be honest. I don't want to push you there. I can go to the Chat Noir alone.
You can't tell him.
That's an easy promise. I will not tell him. I will not talk to him. Why should I? I guess he doesn't know.
No,
Then
and he can't.
it's your decision. I'm not there for him. The Chat Noir is more... I guess you were there at the wrong time. Because I highly doubt he's the one who's making everyone sick.
I don't think so.
See? Then let's just hope that he's not the next on the list. I have no idea on which reigns they are choosing people to give up the livers, because it's quite randomly. Some white coppers, some people living in the building there.
All right. So tomorrow morning, we're going to do an interview with somebody who wants to run the household. During the day, that woman is going to come over to ward off the goddess.
Yes.
And then we're going to go there at night tomorrow to get my shadow back, and she's going to claim her prize.
True. That's enough for an adventurous day. Also, just give me a second. Alice will go back to her, probably upstairs to her desk, because she would have a compass there. And she would probably draw a circle around. She would try to figure out where is really the middle of the triangle. And you could do that the quickest by circling.
So you triangulate.
So it would be somewhere here. And she would see what is there.
And that's a church. The Church of St. Saviour.
Dottie, don't get me wrong. I'm slowly getting an aversion against churches.
To be quite honest, I don't know how much more I can take.
Let's do one step after the other. Let's hope that tonight is calm and she's not showing up again. If she shows up in your room, please scream for help. Yes, please. Tomorrow morning we will focus on the young lady that sounded vastly nervous for the interview, and let's hope she's a good one. And we should try to ward this place off before she starts working here, because I am not sure I want to deal with another one that is getting sick, losing something thanks to me.
What?
I want this place to be a safe place. At the moment it doesn't feel very safe.
I don't think I'll ever feel safe again.
That's why the warding comes in, because I'm honestly believing in it. After all we've seen, I'm taking warding. We can use any help we can get. Sinead can double check, maybe. We can invite Sinead. Maybe she's willing to have a look at what is happening. What do you think?
Can you call her? I think I need to lie down.
Do that. Take our tiger with you.
She picks up Maeve and
Should I bring your tea up?
please. And she goes upstairs.
I will set up the kettle for hot water, and then I will ring Sinead in case she's there.
90. She's not there just now.
Okay. We'll try it later. I will make a big cup of tea. And we'll go upstairs to Dottie's room, knocking on the door.
You knock on the door. She says, "Come."
I will carefully, without
Spot
making too
hidden.
much noise. Oh god. Nope. 70 is too high. Never ever. Nope.
She is lying in bed, and to anyone it would look like she's basically decided to shut out the world. She is lying completely under the covers, just her head, just her face literally sticking out. The cat has been stashed next to her. And you can see that she's been crying. She is in a very bad state.
I will put the cup on her night table, just next to her. Will sit down just next to her, just lay my hand on where I guess the shoulder is. Probably with the other hand scruffle, Maeve a little bit. I am sorry we're in this big mess. We will figure everything out bit by bit. Everything will be okay. Not tomorrow, but it will be okay.
You put the glass on the cup on the nightstand. You see on the nightstand that she's taken off her cross. You can now see that she's also taken down the cross from the wall.
Alice would be blank enough to just take the cross, just looking at her. You know he's still there for you, right? You are always telling me that they are testing the believers. He's still there. If he would have given up on you, he would not be here anymore.
I've given up.
Well, I did not. And you should not either. And can't even imagine what you're going through, but it must be 100 times worse than chaos I'm feeling at the moment. But I honestly believe that he has not kicked you out.
But look at what's happening. We've got some kind of deity, demon, following us around. I've completely fallen. And my shadow's gone, and now we're talking to this woman to restore it, and she's going to take 2 years off your life. I mean, how bad can it get?
We've seen a lot of crazy stuff. It can get worse. Don't even ask for it. It can get worse. Alice will... I guess the nails are still there. She would just hang both crosses back up. It's just also, I'm quite sure, for your God, a lot to sort out as well. We just need time and patience. And what you would say...
Which is a virtue.
And usually you are very good with it compared to me.
That's right.
Also the little thing called hope, which I am not giving up on. There's always hope, dear. Always. We mastered the first step. You are still with us. We mastered the second step. You are clearly minded with us. The next step is we will fix that you're complete again with the shadow. And then we will see on the next step.
She basically, she accepts it, but you know her too well. You know that this is this is a lot. And interestingly enough, she seems to be both a lot more shattered than she was during the last phases of her waking up, but also less shattered because she is not going through up, down, up, down. She is now pretty much down. But she isn't depressed.
It's just a lot.
It's just a lot.
And it seems kind of hopeless, I get that, so...
Yeah, it does. So she takes out one hand to reach the cup.
I will hand it towards to her. Be careful not to spill it. It's hot. I will go back down and see if I can reach Sinead. She wasn't in.
All right. It's good tea, thank you, miss. Alice.
I will look at the clock because I'm also quite sure Dottie has a clock in the room somewhere.
Does.
Just how late it is. It's afternoon, right?
It's afternoon. I would say it's probably around 3.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe 2. And then she follows your eyes and realizes you're looking at the clock. She says, I completely forgot lunch.
Stop. Stay where you are. Drink the tea. I'm not hungry, and I don't think you look very hungry at the moment.
You need to eat.
Well, da. I will fix something for the little one. Pointing at Maeve.
Maeve nods regally.
What do you think about early dinner, and we will just go out?
I like that.
Treat ourselves with something nice.
She smiles.
Good. Then I will call and make a reservation.
Who do you call? Vittorio's?
Yes.
Okay, so you call your favorite...
That's a safe and comfy place.
Yeah, your favorite Italian restaurant, Vittorio's. You reserve a table for 2.
Because I have a nice French place, but I honestly think a French sounding things at the moment is not the comfy place to be, so Italian.
So 1800 hours.
Yeah.
Table is reserved. You try Sinead again?
I will try Sinead again.
Sinead Murphy.
Baker?
Alice.
I am sorry to bug you again for your professional opinion.
You have summoned the deity?
No. We found someone who might be helping us to ward the house. And to help fix a problem.
And which of the many problems that the Baker household is facing at the moment would that be?
I'm just thinking about, did I ever tell her that...
No, she doesn't know that she's pregnant.
No, the shadow.
Yeah, that's why you called her, yeah.
Well, fixing that the shadow comes... Not the... You know that Dottie gets her shadow back.
And how is that person proposing to do that?
She did not clarify the details. There were a lot of different ingredients, as it seems. The question is, would you be kind enough to join us? Because I would really like a second opinion, and I trust you blindly.
How much are you paying that quack? Because if there are ingredients involved, it's not a Christian thing.
No, it's it's a believing thing, as I learned, and the store is kind of Christian. There were a lot of pictures of Jesus there, and crosses and things.
Is it an exorcism, Alice?
No. More, you're not welcome here, stay away.
When?
It was this night? No, next night, tomorrow.
So tomorrow during the day she's going to do the warding. At
Yeah.
night you're going to go there to have the shadow replaced.
Okay, so tomorrow during daytime, so afternoon, she will be here for warding the house. It's worth a try. Can't get worse than it is now. Because at the moment it seems to be an open invitation for things we don't want to have here. And in the evening we will go there to fix the shadow problem. I will...
I could make a living just of you.
Yes.
I should start billing you, Alice.
You can start billing me. I would not be angry about it.
Dottie would have my hide if I did.
Well, I can at least give you good food.
What is she going to cook?
Not sure. I'm scared to ask at the moment. She's lying down for a little bit of a nap.
Is she ill?
She's tired. It was a lot processing about shadows, put in shadow back, about all the... You know, Dottie, with her beliefs, when I talk about someone who's not in the church, it's, I think, a lot for her to process. I just decided to give her at least a few minutes of breathing.
Poor Dottie.
Yes.
Sometimes I don't know if I should congratulate her on being friends with you or if I should tell her to run.
Depending on the situation, I think either is appropriate.
However did the two of you meet? It must have been fate. You really deserve each other.
Well, if you don't want to join us, I totally understand that.
No, I will be there.
Thank you.
But before we hang up, how are you doing?
Well, I'm trying to figure out one step after the other how to fix this mess. And it seems like we're making progress. I hope so. Also, we're still working on a case, which is turning out to be a horrible case. As usual, as it seems.
Alice, when all of this is over, you need to find a way to let go.
Of what?
Of everything, just for a while.
You mean a vacation?
Whatever it takes. I'm pretty sure that Dottie would say the same thing.
The last vacation turned out to be a horror scenario.
How much more can you take?
I am afraid to say we will have to see.
What's that supposed to mean?
Currently, life is throwing a lot of stuff at us. I will figure it out one step after the other.
Honestly, I think the two of you don't just deserve each other. I have a feeling you need each other.
That is a quite good description. But I will take your words. When we figured out this whole hot mess, I will think about a place where we can go on vacation. For a little time off. Not working, just enjoying what we like to do.
Do. I'll make you promise.
I can promise you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure Dottie is willing to. That is her decision.
Dottie doesn't have to promise me anything. She's good at... She will look after herself.
She does.
I'll see you tomorrow.
I will see you tomorrow.
She hangs up. You hear little pads of little tiny feet coming down the staircase.
I will hectically go into the kitchen to fix food for the cat.
Maeve, so basically you are having your phone conversation in the salon. There are two ways to get into the kitchen. Maeve has placed herself firmly in the doorway that leads from the dining room to the kitchen. And she's blocking the door and she's just looking at you. Not in a hungry way.
thought you were hungry, dear.
She comes closer, she headbutts you
Mm-hmm.
and sits right in front of you.
It would be so helpful if we could talk. I'm a bit worried about your mom.
She does one of the most disconcerting things that cats can do. She just starts staring into the void. We're not sure. We believe that they are getting messages from their masters.
Probably. I will fix you something to eat, little one, and I will just pat her on the head.
She starts climbing you. Do you pick her up? Because
Yeah.
that's actually, yeah.
I will
So
pick her up. And we'll walk with her into the kitchen.
you give her some food,
Yeah.
which she looks at. And normally she's a good eater, but she looks at it and then she looks at you. What do you do? Do you sit down? Do you go anywhere? Do you just stand there?
I'll probably... The water should be still quite warm.
Mm-hmm.
I will fill a cup of tea for myself.
And then where do you go with that tea?
Probably upstairs.
To?
No, I think I would sit in the kitchen, at the kitchen table, probably staring at the map.
Mm-hmm. Maeve completely ignores her food and jumps onto your lap, sits down and starts purring really loudly.
I don't understand what you want from me. I thought you were hungry. I'm sorry we forgot you.
She just curls up and she purrs and she looks very content.
That is something Dottie would need, not me.
When you're really honest with yourself, you need it too.
But that is not for the cat to be known.
Well, you have a cat now. Congratulations. You're living with one of the probably most mystical creatures man has ever tamed.
I will sit there for a while, probably just without thinking, and sipping the tea and staring at the map. Probably also along to see if there's anything else in the circle, like prominent buildings that stick out. Probably not.
As you're sitting there, you hear footsteps from upstairs coming down.
Okay.
It's Dottie and she goes to the salon.
I'll probably just call out, Sinead will be there tomorrow.
Oh, all right. Great.
And we have a table at 6.
Yeah, righto. You hear that she takes the phone and goes into the hall with it. Do you listen?
Yes.
She rings. She makes a phone call. She asks the operator to put her through to a clinic in New Jersey.
No, the moment she does that, Alice would get up.
Mm-hmm.
Would, with the cat, would walk over and would just probably show up behind Dottie, just like, not like this.
What do you mean?
Don't make the call today.
She is holding onto the receiver and she has the actual phone in.
Mm-hmm.
What? Why?
Sleep over it.
You hear through the receiver somebody, like saying, hello, hello. She puts down the receiver and she says, what difference does anything make?
We don't know everything. I don't want you to make a decision you will regret.
It looks like, I had a dream last night and I was standing in the middle of a large room and there were doors, and whichever door I took, it just ended with the same result. There is no way out.
That's what your mind is telling you. at the moment.
But if I end it now, there will be one less thing to worry about. We can concentrate on finding out who takes people's livers and maybe get rid of this shadow woman.
But there's also one thing more to worry about.
Which is what?
You did a thing that you don't want to do. If you ever want to set feet back in the church, which I know is important. And so far, whatever you did is not. A lot of people can go back to church after what happens and nothing.
Do you know the feeling when you think that everything is just one thing too many? And you just think, let's just take control of the things we can control. This is the one thing I can control. The only thing.
You are sure you want to do that?
Tears are starting to well up in her eyes. I don't know what I want to do, but I know that I need to make a change and it needs to come. Because this is just too much. I mean, the thing is that you're right. When I make that call, that's it. There is no way back.
I will stop myself from saying that church is stupid not to leave you back, because you're still one of the most wonderful people out here in this freaking city. One step after the other.
So what is the first step?
Tomorrow, we find someone who takes over the stupid work we both don't like to do. Tiny, not really important part, but still something we both will solve, because that's also your decision. Then we get your shadow back.
And sacrifice 2 years of your life in the process. How am I ever going to explain this to your mother?
She will not even see that. It's 2 years. I will look like I usually look.
That's what you would hope.
Well, if I look horrible in 2 years, my genes from my mother were not really good.
But you see, the thing is, this is what this woman is telling you. How can you believe this? You believe her, but you won't believe in the Lord Jesus?
Let's say the Lord has not shown me anything yet why I should believe in him. I'm not saying he's not real. It's not working for me. It never has.
All right. So,
Sweetie, I'm the fallen angel, and you are the angel standing on the cliff.
she looks at you and she inadvertently smiles at the poetic way you've just put this.
Could I just get you? I get what you mean. I totally get what you mean. Wait until we finish tomorrow. 2 more days, or 1.5 more days.
All right. I will do better than that. I will give myself a whole week.
When you want to talk and discuss, I'm here.
But on that day, I will make a decision. And I want you to please be there, no matter what that decision is. And if I'm going to make that call, please don't tell me not to.
I am with you. I will be with you. I just don't want you to make the decision out of a reaction after all you heard today.
All right, maybe it's a good thing to wait. And Maeve is beginning to struggle and she's trying to leave your arm to get to Dottie.
Don't scratch. No. I think this one wants your attention now.
she picks her up and she takes her in her arms, and and she really cradles that cat, and then she says, "I'm going to go to the salon."
Do that.
What about you?
I will clean up the cup in the kitchen. Also, I'm not sure Sinead is quite happy about me.
Why? What did you do?
Well, I am who I am. I think her summary was quite well about she's torn between congratulating you that we are working together, or if she should yell at you to run, which is a quite fine description of where we're stuck at the moment.
Well, how about you just join me in the salon, and we will just sit quietly and reflect on her words.
You know, that's not my strong suit.
Maybe it should be. Come on. Yeah, there is nothing you can do today, and we have 3 more hours before we need to go to dinner. Maybe now you should get some rest.
Alice will sit on the couch, no, probably in one of the chairs, but she will be fiddling with whatever she can find. She's not relaxed. She's really struggling with even, like, keeping it together.
No, she doesn't need to roll, she realizes.
Yeah, she knows it too well for that.
One thing is true, life with you never gets boring.
I'm sorry, it would be good. I don't do boring very well.
How about some music?
That is a thing I can do. I'll get up. Go through the music and we'll look for something happy. Easygoing but happy. And we'll turn it on.
Does it relax you?
No.
Okay. Dottie kind of is beginning to slump a little, and you can see that she's slowly beginning to fall asleep. She's been known to fall asleep on the sofa. This is nothing new.
Yeah.
And then it's coming up to 5:45.
I will very carefully, nudge her.
She wakes up. Oh, sorry, did I fall asleep? I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry for that. At least one of us is clever enough to get some rest.
I'm starving.
Yeah, we should get ready.
Oh, and she looks at her watch. Is it time or... Oh. Were you awake the whole time?
Well, just get ready and I will go to the kitchen to clean up at least.
Okay, she gets ready. You go out.
Yes.
You have a really nice meal at Vittorio's.
Good.
You have a nice evening.
Mm-hmm.
Do you drink?
I don't think so.
Well, Dottie doesn't really drink wine, so two of you have maybe a soft drink, some water, you go back home. Dottie says, I think I really need an early night tonight.
Feel free to do so.
She goes upstairs. She takes Maeve.
Mm-hmm.
And and she she leaves the door open a little bit so that the cat can get in and out, and then she goes to bed. What do you do?
I will, first of all, see if everything is locked properly. I will make a hot cocoa.
Okay.
And we'll sit again in the kitchen in front of the map.
Okay.
And we'll just blankly stare at it.
All right. The map stares back at you.
And I think she will sit like this for probably 2 or 3 more hours. Until, I would imagine, slowly tiredness is really hitting her if she wants it or not.
Yeah. So at this stage, I would say 6, probably 8, half 8 when you got back. It's midnight.
Yeah. And She doesn't really want to go upstairs, and she's quite scared to go to sleep.
Okay.
So she will probably get up and make a second cocoa, maybe adding a little bit of coffee in there,
Okay.
and we'll maybe go to the salon and just go through the books that are down there to see if she can find anything that piques her interest. Or probably she will be just like closed eyes, just go through and just stops.
Okay. What kind of books have you got in your parlor? Is it more the history type, or is it more the romance novels, or, well, detective novels?
I think down there would be more history and travel stuff. So more the cultural society things.
Okay, 73. It's, you get to pick. Is it Egypt?
It would be quite nice to stick on that.
Well,
Although-
I mean, there would be kind of like, you would have definitely re-looked at your collection there, because since the whole thing with Pamela and so on, you both have you have rekindled your interest, and Dottie has started to be interested in it, so it could even be that you put in more books there.
I think it's not Egypt.
Okay.
I think it's a book on South America. But no, south of the US.
South of the US. Okay, I get you. Mm-hmm.
So
Okay, so it's a book that tells you all about sedition and the Confederates and
Yeah.
War of Independence. Not war. Sorry, Civil War.
Yeah.
War of Independence. Um,
and slavery and all the things that happened there. And she
Yeah.
will probably skip through that. She will sit in the kitchen again.
would that be a book that was written in maybe New York, or do you think it would be a Southern published book?
I think it would be a Southern published book.
So they leave out quite a lot of the hideous bits.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's quite a benevolent account of slavery as well, and how it helps the Negro to rise above their very low station because blah. And
I think she would go through that briefly, would raise an eyebrow here and there, and then she would get up, because I'm quite sure next to it there would be a book that would be written from a more objective point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And she would grab that one as well. She would
Yeah.
have both books there. And she would probably flip back and forth.
So this one really also tells about, how slavery was, for example, handled in different parts of the South. You know, there were those, I think it was actually Louisiana that even forbade families to be separated. And children being removed from their parents. But then there were other states where this was actually okay.
Yeah.
And also with regard to the slavery practice, there were those states that actually made sure that let's say, it sounds terrible, the imported were split so that it was different people from different peoples in Africa that mainly didn't even have the same language were put into the same place to prevent sedition and conspiracy.
Yeah.
But then there were those that actually didn't follow that, and they basically made sure that they always got their human cargo from the same place, because they felt that then there was kind of like a tribal it was more like the more humane way of looking at things, although both things are inhumane. So that's kind of explained. But then also how the freeing of how Lincoln's proclamation that all slaves were freed meant that a lot of them tried to win freedom. They were free, and so they joined the army.
Yeah.
On the side of the North. So that's pretty much described. And then of course what happened after the war. So yeah.
She will try to get through the night, I'm quite sure.
And also how a lot of these slaves were, especially in the former French part of the South,
Yeah.
of course Catholics, because the French were Catholic.
Yeah.
And it also touches on the practice of voodoo, which was imported from the Caribbean and also from Africa. So it's kind of like a very syncretistic religion, I suppose. And how the Christian saints are being used to represent the Loa, which would be considered demons, maybe angels, whatever, that are brought down to possess the people to give messages and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's also touched upon. So you find out a lot of things. Yeah.
She will take that, and as I said, I think her goal, not even really realizing, is to just get through the night without sleeping. Not sure if it works, but it will be her goal.
Then let's take a look at your constitution. Make a roll, please. You have a 59 constitution. Oh no.
A big no.
Yeah, well, you tried it. You've tried it before. You failed. You're trying it again. You fail.
Okay, so I'm crashing on the kitchen table.
Yes.
Just flonk.
Yeah. The next morning,
Put out here.
you hear a Alice. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, what is going on?
Don't. What? How late is it?
It's 6:15 and you're lying with your head on the kitchen table. Have you been here all night? And she looks at you. You haven't even undressed.
Oh. Well, good morning.
Alice, you're going to seed. Last night you got drunk and fell asleep on the sofa, and tonight you didn't even make it as far as a soft sleeping place. You just slept on the table.
But I did not touch any alcohol. I promised not to drink.
Yeah, but Alice, what's wrong? Why didn't you go to sleep? Why didn't you go to bed?
I had things to read on.
Like what?
Pointing out the book.
Of the two of us, who is the one without the shadow who's pregnant?
Well, I can't say me because it's obviously you.
And even I managed to go to bed.
Yeah, thank goodness. One of us has common sense.
Yes, and it's not you.
That's true.
You stay put. I'll make breakfast.
I will go upstairs.
Yes.
Refresh.
Yeah.
Change clothing.
And she calls after you, lie down. You can have breakfast in bed.
You don't have to. I'll be down.
I
in
know,
a
but
few
I want
minutes.
to.
I don't want to lay down. I'm not sick.
And you hear something to the effect of, that remains to be seen.
Alice will just go upstairs and will change clothing, will refresh and brush teeth. Probably try to scrub up some of her makeup and refreshen it a little bit. And we'll go back down.
Mm-hmm. You go back down. You see that she has put everything on a little tray, the one that has the fold-out legs, really ready to give you breakfast in bed. Absolutely prepared. Would have been the third time. Fine. But please, do me the favor and go to the salon and sit on the sofa at least. Do try and get some rest.
I slept.
Yes.
My neck is not very happy.
It would be nice if just once you wouldn't argue.
Alice would just walk into the salon and just plop herself on the couch.
Okay, so she comes after you. She puts the tray where it needs to go, so basically over your legs. Folds out the legs of the little tray. Then she says, just one moment, goes back out, comes back with a tray for herself, which she puts on the table.
Good.
And then she says, here's your coffee.
Thank you.
I made pancakes.
Extra, thank you.
And now let's enjoy this.
Alice will grab the coffee and will be very happy with it.
So you have your breakfast.
Yeah.
It's very early because, she woke you at 6:15, so it's probably now 8 o'clock or something. And then she says, so did she say when she was going to come?
At 10.
All right, so, all right. She looks at you and she says, maybe have some more coffee, you look like death.
That is not nice to say, but okay.
You do want to make a good impression. It's the first time you're going to possibly meet your future employee.
It's a question if she still stays with a bad impression. I think she's a winner.
She smiles. She says, "That's something I cannot really argue with."
But well, no, another coffee sounds good. Oh,
She gives you another coffee, and then 5 minutes to 10, the bell rings. I'll get it.
Alice will not argue.
She goes outside, opens the door. You hear voices, words are exchanged, and she then the door opens again. Dottie steps in and she says, "Miss Baker, may I present Miss Teresa McFarlane?"
Good morning.
"Miss McFarlane, this is my employer, Miss Alice Baker. Why don't you sit down?" And she points to a chair, and the girl sits down. She's probably not even of age. She's probably around 18. Painfully shy. Blushed. She is a slip of a girl. And she's making herself even half that size because she's crunching herself up in that chair. You can see that the knuckles that are clutching the handbag are kind of white a little. Yes. She looks at you expectantly.
Well,
"Miss?"
have you any experience in household work?
"Yes, I've worked for the last 2 years with a family. They are leaving New York, so I need to find new employment. I've got a reference," and she takes out the reference.
I will carefully take it and read it slowly. Probably for the girl, painfully slowly.
Yes, indeed. And Dottie is just staring at the girl, unflinchingly and unblinkingly. That makes the girl even more uncomfortable, probably.
How's the reference? Looking
The reference is really good. So she would have worked there. She would have come to the household to basically be a helper to the ladies' maid. So that's how they start out.
Yeah.
And she did a really, really good job. Very reliable. And there is you've seen references because your mum would have read them and your mum would have given them.
Yeah.
And it's a really good reference. But also they say that they are leaving New York, and seeing as she is not of age, her parents have not consented to her accompanying them. Yeah. Otherwise, they would have been glad to take her.
Okay.
And
I will just nonchalantly give it to Dottie.
Dottie opens it, she reads it, she folds it, she puts it back in the envelope and hands it back to Miss McFarlane.
Well, we would need you to, make sure at least the house is clean.
Yes, miss.
To take care of the washing and ironing.
Yes, miss.
She's leaning into Dottie, probably. Does she need to be every day here?
That depends. Do you want her to be here every day? Because then she would need a room.
Do you have a place to stay, or have you lived with the family?
Well, I used to live with the family, but I can stay with my folks.
Well, we have a tiny guest room. Because we must have, because we had the nurse over.
And you have a guest room that you would use for your own guests, so you have 2 spare rooms.
Not to shock you, but just to... How do you think about women having work that is usually more done by men?
Like what, miss?
Private investigator?
What's that, miss?
It's something like a police detective, but just not with the police. I'm just helping people when they lost someone or something.
Like Mr. Holmes?
Yes, sadly not as brilliant. I'm working on it. She's getting bonus points for mentioning Mr. Holmes. Big bonus points.
I have never really thought about it, only I'm not very intelligent.
Well, we will have to see that. You know, Mr. Holmes, a lot of people would not.
Well, how does that, what does that mean for me though?
Well, I would say we would give it a try. Well, I think. Dottie, do you have any more questions?
She looks her up and down and she says, "How's your cross stitch?" And the girl takes a deep breath and then she starts talking cross stitching. And then at some point, Dottie's like, "That'll do."
Just stay here. Do you want a cup of tea?
I don't know, miss.
Just, would you mind just waiting for a second? We will just need to quickly make a decision.
Oh, of course, miss.
I will motion for Dottie to go
Yeah.
into the kitchen.
So you go to the kitchen.
I will set up just absent-mindedly a kettle with hot water. What do you think? Should we at least give her a test month?
Well, I think that, I mean, the question and asking her if she was fine with you doing a man's job, that was a really good question.
Thank you.
I think we should give her a month and see how it goes.
And
She knows her cross stitch.
and we can see if she can keep everything clean and not clean too much, because she needs to learn if something like this is on the table, it stays on the table.
I'll have an eye on her.
Then let's give it a go.
All right.
She doesn't seem to be dumb, even if she says so.
Well, I suppose that some of this may be what you're told when you grow up.
Then we will have to see if we can teach her a few.
She is definitely not stupid.
I think so. Then
I suppose it's also a question of when did she leave school. You know how it is.
yeah,
Miss
I
Alice.
know a bit. Then let's tell her the good news with a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will make 3 cups of tea,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll join
Teresa.
Teresa.
And Dottie, of course, doesn't even let you carry that's what she does. She has the tray out with the sugar and the milk and the sugar and the milk. And she basically places out 3 cups of tea. She fills the cups from the not the kettle, but the tea, tea kind of, what? Teapot.
Teapot.
And basically, and then she looks at you expectantly.
Well, Miss McFarland, that name will ruin me. Would you be up for a test month working here? We can give you a place to stay. And
Sure.
we can just both sides see if we work along well.
Yes, miss.
Good.
When do you want me to start, miss?
What day of the week we would have?
Today's Wednesday.
Wednesday. On Monday next week,
Yes.
if it's
Yes.
feasible for you.
At what time should I show up?
At 8 o'clock in the morning.
8 o'clock in the morning.
Make it 9. Make it 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock in the morning.
I'm just side eyeing Dottie.
Dottie's like,
That sounds lovely. I will set up the contract,
yes, miss.
and looking forward to see you around.
All right, miss. I would need the contract to give to my mother to sign, though.
Mm-hmm. The question would be, in preparation, I would know she's been there.
Well, I mean, it's a boilerplate. You can basically just take Dottie's and just change the names.
I think she would have prepared something already,
Yeah,
because it was planned. Just give me a few minutes, enjoy the cup of tea, and then I would walk upstairs to my study, to my desk, pull it out, would fill in her name, propose a payment that I know from my mother is average and okay, and would then go back down and hand it to her.
She's over the moon, of course, and she says, I will have my mother sign it and I will post it back out to you today.
You can just bring it on Monday when you come here. No worries about that.
All right.
Good.
And she's smiling from ear to ear, and she actually probably is kind of like almost she wants to leave because she
Yeah.
wants the contract to be signed, and she's kind of like really eager, but she doesn't want to seem to be rude. And then Dottie's like, well, it's actually we have another engagement for lunch, so I will just take you outside. And she shows up to the door, and and the two of them have a little a couple of words, and then the door opens. She steps outside, the door closes. Dottie comes back and she says, well, wasn't that Throwback Wednesday?
A tiny bit.
It was, wasn't it?
It was. Although I've been also quite different then, but
Yes, you were very different.
we all started somewhere.
Yes, we did. So, I will make some lunch because we need, if this woman is going to ward stuff, we want to be ready for it.
True.
So, soup and sandwiches.
Yes.
Okay, so she makes soup and sandwiches. 1:00, there's a ring, and it's Sinead.
I will open the door and let her in.
Well, Alice, now tell me everything.
Come on, sit down at the kitchen table. Although by now I would have folded up the map and put it away.
Is there anything to drink in this house?
Always.
Dottie's like, Sinead.
Do you maybe want a sandwich? We still have some left.
Yes, yeah. So, Alice, Dottie, what is going on with you?
Well, I
Yeah.
prayed to the wrong demon.
I know, but now you bring in somebody else to do a warding?
Well, we for the job and the case we're researching on, we were in the Bronx.
Oh, lordy.
And we visited a certain business.
All right.
And at least my guts told me that the owner, Maman Laval, might be able to help. It's worth a try.
Oh, dear. You spoke to a voodoo priestess.
Oh, any kind of help we can get?
Well, it's going to be so interesting to see how the other side does it.
That's why I wanted you here.
Make that a double, Dottie. Dottie comes back with a double whiskey. And so you wait. At 3:00, Madame Laveau, avec her niece, show up.
Mm-hmm.
And the basically they are beginning to burn incense, and it smells terrible. Like, really, it doesn't smell like church. It's more like she's trying to smoke you out.
How does the cat react to all
The
this?
cat actually has the typical hissing and runs upstairs. And then they basically smoke out the basement, the downstairs, and then she places little satchels, like, they smell like something died in there. And she places one in the fireplace, and one above the back door, and one above the front door. And then she says, and now you leave them there for 3 days and 3 nights. And then you can remove them. And I swear to you, nothing that you don't want to pass over that threshold will come in.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Interesting. Thank you.
And then she turns around, and Sinead basically has been sitting on the sofa this whole time, and she says to Sinead, as you know, it's all in the mind. And Sinead nods, completely ignoring that a blind woman will not see that. She's kind of pissed off.
Mm-hmm. Madame Laval?
Yeah, my child.
For this evening,
Yes, the ceremony.
should we bring anything special?
I think the two of you are special enough.
Could we be 3? Would you mind if our friend is joining us?
That would make 4.
Well, with you, yet.
Let's see if she's quick enough to understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's 36, yeah, she is. 35, yes.
Good. Thank you. Then we will see you later.
Mm-hmm. So she leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sinead's like, what are you doing tonight?
Shadow. Is to
You're-
get the shadow back.
You're asking her to bring back the shadow. What is she proposing to do?
We will see.
She looks around. Let's see if Alice is there. If she, 22. That's higher than your luck, is it? Yeah. Your luck is-
Everything is higher than my luck.
Dottie is, of course, in the same room. And then she says, Dottie, dear, can I ask you to make me a cup of tea, please? And take your time. And Dottie just looks at her and leaves.
You know I don't have secrets in front of her, right?
Yes, you're taking her there. What do you think is going to happen?
She's getting her shadow back.
That's dangerous. You don't even know what's going on.
If you have a better solution how we can get it back, I'm open.
Don't you start with me. I'm telling you, if something happens to Dottie.
You will come for me, I know.
Good.
I'm desperate.
And if something happens to you, Dottie will have a breakdown.
And she will come for me and bite my ass.
Yes.
I know.
It's good that we're all on the same page. Ah, there is... Thank you, Dottie.
You don't have to whisper in front of her. I can only ask if you want to join. If you don't want to join, it's fine for me as well.
She looks at Dottie and she says, Dottie, would you want me there? And Dottie says, I think it would be good. I will be there.
You can just stay for the rest of the day with us if you like, and we go there together.
That's fine.
Good. Would I know if a normal cab driver that we call here would be willing to drive us to the Bronx and drop us there?
Yes, because you've been to the Le Chat Noir.
Okay.
Probably. Because your friends might go. I mean, it is kind of like a... it's... That you would find a cab that takes you there.
Yeah, but still. She would... Ladies, give me a few minutes. She would pull out the card from Louis and would call the number.
Le Chat Noir. Bonjour.
Baker, yeah. I'm looking for Louis.
Oui.
Could I speak to him, please?
Of course. Receivers put down. You hear woman speaking rapidly in French. And then a male voice, Louis.
Miss Baker here.
Oh, yes, Miss Baker.
I would be curious, would you be free tonight to drive us?
Of course.
Would you be able to pick us up? We didn't make it. When would we have to be at the...
Probably after the moon rises.
We are in
March.
March.
So you would probably say about 10.
10, 11?
Yeah.
We would need to be around 10 at Madame Lavan's place. Or
Sure.
Maman. Could you pick us up here, drop us there,
Of course.
wait for us and bring us back home?
Of course.
Thank you so much.
Don't worry about a thing, ladies.
Then see you later.
All right, so you spend the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to do anything or shall we just jump?
We can jump.
Okay, so
Alice will be her restless self running up and down and doing stuff that don't need doing.
at about 6 o'clock, whether you like it or not, Dottie will wrestle you to the ground and put you in the seats that you have
or eat.
dinner.
Yeah.
And then, he picks you up And then you arrive at the place, and you can see that the light is on through the window in the door. You ring the bell. Maxine opens. Her mood hasn't improved. She's not happy to see you, but then again, nobody seems to care what she thinks.
I will nicely in French say good evening.
And
Bonsoir.
she says bonsoir. And then she leads you inside. She leads you to the settee where you were before. And Maman Lavaux shows up. And she says, so now, to repair the shadow. And she basically sits down and she says, now it is really important that we all believe in the here, in the now, and in the beyond.
Alice will keep an open mind.
Okay. Then I want you to make a power check, please.
Oh God. Nope.
No, you don't. So let's see. Dottie has a very high power of 80. Well, barely. Sinead doesn't have stats, but she has high power just because of her profession. Within 38, yeah. Okay, so
it's good that the two ladies who are
Yeah.
not really believing it are doing more than Alice.
now what happens is basically you are sitting in this room and it's not dark,
Yeah.
but it falls dark completely, and it's the same thing that you saw happen in your when she first showed up. You know
Yeah.
how she sucked all of
Yeah.
the light. Basically she gave off all of
Yeah.
the light. She sucked in all of the shadow, and
Yeah.
now it's kind of like the reverse. And all of the light goes out and basically focuses in one point, which is almost like a little sun hanging in the darkness. And then she speaks rapidly in French Creole, which you don't understand. And then the light expands like somebody's turning on one of those really strong lights that you find in a theater.
Yeah.
But the light is completely focused on Dottie. So it's almost like she's emerging from the darkness, and she's completely transfixed by the light, and it's shining into her eyes, and she has to shield her eyes from it, and then something weird happens, because you see behind her congregating shapes that look like Dottie, so shadows that look like Dottie, and they're coming from all sides and basically stepping into this light pillar and are becoming overlaying each other, and then they become one, and then they become her shadow, like the shadow she would cast in that situation sitting down. And then the light diffuses, and then the whole place is lit up. And do you look around?
Yes.
Make a spot hidden with advantage, please. That's already, but
16?
that's very good. Yeah.
Yeah, it stays with
Yeah,
us.
but 16 is definitely a success.
Is hard success.
Yeah. And you notice that everyone's casting a shadow. So every single person in that room is casting exactly one shadow.
As it should be.
As it should be. And then she turns to you and she says, and now for the prize.
Alice will just look and wait.
So you offered me 2 years of your life.
Yes. I'm ignoring Sinead. She's murdering probably me by looks.
And you were being serious.
I still have no idea if it's too high, probably, but it's worth it.
That's all I needed to know. You're free to go.
Okay. Thank you.
Don't thank me.
Well, you helped us a lot.
I did it because it was the Christian thing to do.
Alice will get up.
Dottie's kind of like looking between the two of you. And Sinead grabs her by the elbow and leads her out. And the three of you leave.
Yeah, Alice, probably before we step out, she will turn around. Thank you again. And have a nice rest of the evening.
You too, my child.
And then we will step out and hope that the cab is...
The cab is there.
Louis
He's
still
reading
there.
the paper. And he takes you home. Or where do you want to go?
I would ask him if we could pass by the church.
St. Saviour's.
Yeah. And would probably ask Curious question if he knows anything about who's running the church.
Yes, that would be Father Horan.
Do you know if he's new around or if he's...
Father Horan? Oh no, he's as old as the hills. He baptized me. And I mean, he's about 30 maybe.
Good to know, good to know. One day I'll need to stop at that church, I guess, but it's quite late.
Yes, I mean, he makes a point of opening very early and closing very late, but even now it's like past midnight. It's too late for him.
That's
Unless it's an emergency, you can always get him.
It's not. I was just very curious to know that.
But you drive by it, and it's actually quite a nice church. Catholic, obviously.
Yeah.
And he says he lives in the church. So, because sometimes, you know, the church has a little bit of an annex where the priest can live. It's very small, but then again, he's a very modest man.
That sounds like exactly what you all need around
He
here.
even does his own cleaning. He only has a cook that comes in because he says he couldn't even for the life of him boil water.
That is sad, but I guess every support for this man sounds like a good support.
So do you drop off Sinead, or do you ask him to take Sinead home after he drops you off, or how do you do it?
I would ask Sinead if she wants to be dropped off at home.
That would be nice.
Yeah, then we will drop her off first, and then we will go back home.
You go back home, you arrive,
Yeah.
unlock the door,
Yep.
step inside,
Yep.
turn on the light. The first thing Dottie does, is she looks at her shadow. She stands in front, so she stands underneath the light to see if she's casting a shadow, and she is casting a shadow. And she looks at you and she says, "It's back."
It is. How do you feel?
I don't know, I don't feel any different, but then again, I now know it's back.
Thank goodness. And I know it's weird, and I'm still sure Sinead is not happy with, especially me. I kind of like the old lady.
Well, she's a Christian.
Which should maybe give her more... Not sure. She's not like you in your belief, I think.
No, she isn't. But then again, she didn't seem evil.
Right? I got to say she's someone that is willing to help.
And she didn't ask a prize.
Which is disturbing.
No, I think I know what she wanted to do. She wanted to test you. She wanted to know were you being serious. Was it important?
Well, you're always important. And I'm glad that we have at least one thing fixed. Then let's hope that these stinky, weird little bags are helping.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we can take them down before the young Miss McFarland joins us.
Yes, I know.
It will be difficult to
And
explain.
especially, remember, we wanted to have lunch, have dinner with your parents, where you wanted to tell them that I'm now your partner. Just imagine these things were lying around.
God.
They would be mortified.
That would be even more difficult to explain. But I am glad we have you back in one piece.
Literally.
Yes. One problem solved.
One problem solved.
Then I think that was a lot for today.
It was.
We try to get some sleep.
Yes, but I would prefer if at least tonight you could sleep in your bed and stay in your bed and not go anywhere else.
Maybe table sleeping is a new trick. I'm going to my bed. Don't worry.
Please. And she goes upstairs.
Yeah, I will make my usual round, make sure everything is...
Now you have a companion because this patrolling thing is something that Maeve likes. So she now goes with you, checks that everything's locked.
Probably I will give her a little snack in the kitchen. Or maybe, probably not a snack, but I will have a bowl where I put in a little bit of milk.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit in there. And I will wait until
she's finished?
Yeah, until she's finished. And then I will probably invite her, that I will carry her if her queenness herself is willing to.
She jumps in your arms.
I will give her some cuddles. I will turn off the light. I will go upstairs to basically in front of Dottie's room. We'll sit the cat down because I know that she can do the rest of the way.
The cat looks at the door of Dottie's room, which is a little bit ajar, and then she walks downstairs and goes to your bed and jumps onto it and waits for you to come in.
She will go downstairs, she will make herself ready, and she will probably sit in bed with light on, having a book, some kind of krimi, crime novel, nothing too serious, and will read a bit.
Maeve places herself so that you can lie there without, getting a cramp or a crick in the neck.
Yeah.
But also making sure that if you have to move, you will have to move her. So if you leave, she will know instantaneously.
Dottie sent you, didn't she? You too.
She purrs at you. Meow.
I'll give her a little scratch between the ears.
And then she does what cats can do really well. She turns into this really long stretch where you kind of go, that cat is at least twice as long as it's normally. And then she goes to sleep on top of you.
I think Alice would carefully down a little bit. She would leave the light on, but she will try to fall asleep.
Okay, so you fall asleep. You leave the light on.
Yeah.
And you hear a voice.
She will keep her eyes closed. What kind of voice?
It is your own voice.
That is not good.
And it says, and the woman obviously says to you in your own voice, I'm not your enemy.
Alice will just... I think the only reaction is the question, is it in her dreams or is she half awake?
It's kind of this middling state.
If it's half awake, she would probably just as a reaction see if Maeve is still there.
Yeah, Maeve is still there.
She would put her hand just as calming point on there. And she would not react. She would just try to keep her eyes closed and just hope it goes by. And nothing else comes. The problem is I'm not sure she will fall asleep again. She will probably just be frozen in this for a while.
And you're frozen in this for a while, and then the voice says, sleep. And you do go to sleep.
Just like that.
Unless you have a very, very strong reaction.
Well, honestly, you know Alice, if someone tells her to do something, she will try to do exactly the opposite.
Then make a constitution check.
So with sleep, she would be probably opening the eyes and would try to be exactly...
And you get a bonus on this because you are kind of... Oh, yes.
No,
do a bonus. Do a bonus.
No.
Try again.
A bonus, I just need this one. That was a 3.
That was a 3. Yes!
Yeah.
Ooh! 0, 3.
Stubbornness wins.
Yeah, stubbornness wins.
I will open my eyes.
You open your eyes, and the light is on, and the room is completely... There's no change. Maeve is totally relaxed. But you just look and there is nothing. Of the rest of the night, you don't hear anything.
Okay.
You see the sunrise.
Yeah. I think when the sun rises, she will probably close her eyes just for a little while again.
And then, yeah, well, now that you are responsible for breakfast, Dottie has stopped setting herself an alarm.
Well, Alice did set her alarm, so we will sleep in.
At some point, you hear a knock on your door, which is, of course, a little bit ajar because of Maeve. Alice?
What? Sorry.
It's all right.
Is the cat still there?
Yeah.
We had a visitor.
Who was it?
Who was it?
Well, it can't have been the goddess because of the wards.
Well, I didn't see her, but I clearly heard her.
What did she tell you?
That she's not my enemy.
Well then, maybe she isn't.
And then she tried to make me sleep. Which is the dumbest way to say to me. Because what was my reaction?
Well, to be quite honest, she gets bonus points for trying to make you go to sleep.
I don't like someone to tell me what to do. Especially not if someone thinks they're more powerful than me.
Well, but it's now 11:30 and you have been sleeping, I can tell.
11:30. I am so sorry. Breakfast.
I've had breakfast.
That is not good.
Well, you can have breakfast now, or I can give you just a brunch.
Oh boy. Give me 5 minutes. I will be downstairs.
You stay where you are. You can have brunch in bed.
Alice will not fight.
Good. Because you gave me back my shadow. That's the least I can do.
I did nothing.
One of these days, Alice Baker, one of these days, you and I are going to talk about what nothing is.
Thank you for breakfast.
She comes back and it's actually quite a nice brunch. So it's toast. It's salmon, smoked salmon, with the green ones that you had for dinner last night, the ones that came with your tartar.
I know it's Kapern in German.
Yeah, capers.
Is it capers?
They're capers, yeah, capers. And and then some really nice gravit sauce, some dill, really lovely. Then of course your coffee, extra strong.
That's the most important part.
And of course, just in case, some jam and some marmalade, and of course butter. And she has brought enough for two.
Good.
And she pulls up a chair. And she has brought 2 plates, and so she's joining you for a brunch.
I'll pet next to me. The bed is big enough that 2 people
She
can
sits
sit
down,
there.
and
Maeve will get a little bit of the fish.
she likes it. And then the 2 of you have brunch. And then basically that was all you had planned for today. So, what are your next steps going to be?
That is a good question. Brainstorming with Dottie. So, what do we do with this case, Dottie? I am out of ideas.
Well, she did say that nothing was going to happen for the next 2 weeks. Because we're waiting for the new moon.
But also in 2 weeks we have no ideas what to do.
No, but she said that this is a powerful person.
Yes.
Who does this every 30 to 40 years.
Yes.
So assuming that it's happened before, we could hit the library, look at back issues 30, 40 years ago to see was there another epidemic.
We could also ask the inspector. They should have maybe something in the police
They
documents.
could have records.
Okay.
And then also maybe talk to that priest in that church, even if it's not him, and I don't think it is. Although he might be old enough, considering that he.
I hope he's not.
Yes, but then again, from an age perspective, when we look at Louis, he's about your age, so he would have been baptized 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So it could be the priest. I'm not saying that it is the priest.
But we should have a look. I'm with you.
Or maybe and if it's not him, he was here.
Oh, I never thought of that. Okay. Then today we do a relaxed day.
Yes.
Maybe go out for a nice coffee and cake.
Yes.
The weather looks okay.
The weather's nice, actually, yeah. Cold, bright.
Tomorrow we visit the church.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you're not comfortable around Louis, but maybe it's worth stopping by at the Black Cat. You can stay in the cab. I will just need 5 minutes. You can trust him. I'm quite sure he showed by now that he's not one of the bad ones. And then we have that figured out as well. I can also ask around with some friends to see if I can go there in the evening, but just have it. Although I'm not sure what I want to find there, to be honest. It's a spot where a lot of people mingle.
Yes, that's true.
Let's start with the church and then the library.
Mm-hmm.
And I will call. What I can do today, I can call the inspector.
Okay.
So after brunch, when we've done and Alice got into clothing, she will go downstairs, would call the inspector.
Yeah.
Would ask him if he could check if there was anything similar, like 30 to 40 years ago, also around the Bronx area.
Of course I can. I will let you know, and then hopefully you will fill me in on the details. You don't need to let me know now, but I will check.
It's just a hunch. It might be. I honestly.
And again, hepatitis.
Yes.
Okay.
And I hope we are wrong, to be honest. Also, I'm not sure if you would be able to check in the hospital. Oh, do you know if the autopsy, if everything worked out with transferring the body?
We have received the body from the morgue.
Good, that's good.
But it will take a couple of days for the autopsy to happen.
That is not a problem.
I have secured funding because, of course, they will want money. It's not something that they do for free, but it will be funded.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you have any problems with that, just let me know.
Ms. Baker, I think that the City of New York can do this for its citizens. It's just a question of me filling in forms and handing them in.
Thank you so much for taking
You can
the
expect
time.
it in about, I would say, 48 hours.
Just let me know if you heard
Yes.
anything.
Would you like to see the body, or is it just enough that we open it up?
It's enough if you just double check if the liver's there.
We will.
Thank you. Have a quiet rest of the day.
I hope I will, because I'm going to my club tonight.
Enjoy it.
Thank you.
And we will hear each other.
We will hear from each other. Have a lovely... And give my regards to Miss Williams.
I will do so.
And he rings off.
Yeah.
And then in the afternoon, you have your tea and cake. In the evening, she cooks a delicious meal.
Hmm.
And I suppose we will leave it there.
That sounds like a happy end.
It
At
is
least a tiny.
Yes, well, I mean, you know, of all of the problems that you've had, you have solved one.
At least that.
Yeah, and you didn't even have to pay.
That is still... Alice is not buying it.
Regardless of what I try, you're always so distrusting
Yes.
of my NPC.
After all that happened, she's not trusting a lot of people, to be honest.
Yeah, I know.
Everything has a price.
So that's the end of the 4th installment. We hope you enjoyed it. We definitely enjoyed telling the story.
Sorry for the weird setup. Next time we will be
Probably, yes.
back at home.
Yeah. So we're today in Alice's parlor, actually.
Well,
Kind of. And we'll see you again. We'll see you again soon. Bye.
Bye.